Welcome to the Chords of Chaos, a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign set in the Stone Age of our original homebrew world. I run this campaign for half a dozen groups and over 40 players, each group inhabiting different parts of the world at the same time, having different goals and generally doing very different things. Sometimes those goals are in line with each other, and sometimes groups find themselves at cross purposes and get hostile. Think Game of Thrones, where even though different characters might be doing different things at opposite sides of the world, it's all one story, and everyone's stories eventually converge on each other. PvP is possible in this world, and character death is both inevitable and usually permanent. This playlist is meant to be a repository for all the VODs of this campaign, but we play live on Twitch every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, so feel free to follow me over there if you want to see us play live, and if you're interested in getting involved in the community or maybe even playing along with us, come join our Discord server. You can get the link in the description down below. Tonight is the first session for the group known as the Gods and Guards, and the second session of the campaign as a whole. It takes place in New Crescendo, the largest city in the world, and consists mostly of humans living under the rule of the High Elves. The High Elves live in the floating island city of Orchestria, a mile directly above New Crescendo, and most of them never leave there or interact with the humans down below. 100,000 humans live in and around the crater caused by Orchestria's lifting, and compared to the hundreds of human tribes out in the wilds, these humans live in relative peace. The High Elves, with their powerful magics, are able to take care of a population this large by using druidic magic to rapidly grow food for everyone. The humans would not be able to survive in a population this large otherwise. The elves may rule over them, but they take a very hands-off approach to this rule, mostly leaving the humans to their own devices, save for necessities like food and protection, which is handled by the elven-led but mostly human-staffed Harmony Guard. Neither the humans nor the elves have developed written language at this point, and of the two groups, only the elves have developed magic. The humans worship the gods, but the elves take something of a hands-off approach to them as well. Unlike the dwarves, the elves do acknowledge that the gods exist, but they consider them to simply be part of the natural world's order, and they'd be no more likely to worship a god as they would a rock or a river. They think the humans are quite silly for worshiping the gods, but as the gods do not seem to answer prayers or interfere in anything, they tolerate their superstitions well enough. No human in the world has ever used magic before, and is the main reason why the elves have been able to keep control over them, despite the humans outnumbering the elves 30-1. Tonight, that is about to change. So, it is 15 years ago. We are on the shores of the Bravura Bay, just outside of New Crescendo proper. And Gabriel Hugo, a trader and a priest of Maelstra, has returned home from a trading job with the dwarves off in Chronicle City. And he has returned home with to his wife with a surprise. He brought home a baby half-orc that was stowed away on the dwarven ship he was riding on, and his wife did not take it very well. Bianca and Gabriel are on the shores having a little bit of an argument about this. Bianca is very stressed out. They are newlyweds, and not too long after their wedding, Gabriel had to go off on his job. He's been away for over a month now, and he's coming home with a child who humans don't really know orcs that well, and they mostly hear bad things about them. Bianca sighs. She's completely exasperated by this situation, and she looks at Gabriel and says, I can't believe... What were you thinking?
I was not thinking. I was merely listening. When we were out there, we ran into a storm, and the storm brought the ship down, and I don't know how to describe it, Bianca, but I saw God. I saw a goddess, and she spoke to me, and she gave me this child. She told me to bring him home to keep him safe. He is the son of the storm. I know not what to describe him as that.
You've always chosen Maelstra over all the other gods. I don't understand it. She's the goddess of chaos, of why? And you bring home this monster. What happens when he grows up and what if he eats us? What if he goes on a rampage and people look at us differently?
That's the gamble. That's the chaos. Look around us. We can say that we live in a world of order, but you and I both know that we do not. Why is it that a city floats above us? Why is it that the waves crash on the shore? Why is it that trees grow and move in the forests? It's unknown, and only by embracing that can we truly find some sort of meaning in all of this. And this boy, is just a part of it.
And you mean to have us raise him forever?
As long as Maelstra wills it.
She is clearly flustered. She's also very much in love. But this is such a surprise to her. Bianca is an adherent of all of the gods pretty equally. Most people in New Crescendo are. It's fairly common for somebody to feel drawn to one or two of the gods more than others, but Gabriel has been extra devoted to Maelstra, the goddess of the sea. And this has caused a little bit of a strain in their relationship, but she slowly nods and says, "You think we can raise this beast, this monster, to what, and be good?"
I think that under her watch and in her embrace, anything is possible.
All right. I can't believe this is the fate the gods have chosen for us, but I love you, Gabriel, and I trust you. If
I
this
love
is
you too,
if
and I
this
trust
is
you too.
if this is our fate, then all right. But I don't know how to raise an orc. I don't know how to do it. I'm going to have to look to you.
We look to the sea. We look to whatever people we can bring around us, whatever community we can found. The followers, they'll understand. They have to.
She nods. She looks out at the sea. She sighs one more time and she holds your hand, and you look out into the future more than anything. It's now the present. 15 years have passed. And Bianca lays dead in an alleyway. Blood everywhere. And as we come out, we see a half-orc standing above her, hammer held in hands. Further out, we see Gabriel and their midwife, Imrie, looking on the scene, watching. And then we see the town guards, the Harmony Guard, They've heard the commotion, and they run in. They see the scene. They swarm them. There's confusion, but the high elf commander, who is, in this culture, they're called the directors, he takes them all into custody. Gabriel and Imrie, roll a persuasion check, both of you. Okay. We're just gonna speed past this part so we can bring the other two in. But in the confusion, there's clearly some discussion to be had about what happened, and so you talk the Harmony Guard into having this discussion in the Temple of Daestris, where bodies are usually brought and cleaned, and funeral rites are talked out. And so they bring you off in that direction. There are a few guards still posted out. Red and Lantham, you have been called to look into this. Now, I will give you both a chance to describe your characters and stuff, but the big takeaway here is Lantham is a city human who has had, I think, 15 years on the job. Correct me if I'm wrong about that, Crazy.
That sounds about right, yeah.
And he's known for being a good guy. He's kind of a beat cop. He kind of, he is known by the humans to be someone that they can kind of trust and rely on, and he's fairly good-natured. Red is a half-elf who has lived with in Orchestria, the High Elves, floating city that is directly above the crater that they all live in. And it is his first day on the job. So if you guys want to briefly introduce your characters, and then we'll set the scene from there.
Go ahead, Fred.
Yeah, all right. Well, one thing to know is that Red was placed in the guard by his elven uncle. So he feels he still needs to prove himself worthy of his new position. And apart from that, he really aims to integrate himself into this human society that he's discovering.
And one thing I should point out about the Harmony Guard is New Crescendo is the largest city in this Stone Age world. It is ruled by the High Elves, but not in like an Iron Fist kind of way. The High Elves really take care of the humans. But there's only about 3,000 High Elves, and they all live in the floating city above New Crescendo proper. The floating city is called Orchestria. Humans have mostly settled in the crater directly beneath Orchestria, but also around that area too. And the Harmony Guard, there's 100,000 humans living in New Crescendo. There's about 200 to 300 Harmony Guard total. Almost all of them are humans, but there's not a single human in a leadership role, really. So it's mostly High Elves who run the Harmony Guard and humans who staff the Harmony Guard. So a half-elf is not unheard of in the Harmony Guard, but for a half-elf to be a member of the Harmony Guard as a grunt and not as a kind of position of great power or leadership or anything is pretty unheard of. It's not completely unique, but there might be one other in the whole guard that's like that. And Red has been assigned to Lantham, who is Crazy's character. Go ahead and take the lead there.
Yeah, so Lantham has been in the Harmony Guard for about 15 years. He's in his early 30s, so he's got quite a bit of experience. He is the type of person who's eager to do a good job. He's always willing to help. He helps out people around the community, but he also feels like the Harmony Guard isn't doing enough. Not only are they woefully understaffed, he thinks they don't do enough to prevent crimes or solve crimes. They just, if they catch somebody red-handed, they get them. If not, oh well. So he continues to try to push for crime prevention and crime solving. Not obviously not to the level of modern forensics, but
Sure.
it's something that he pushes a lot and probably irritates the hell out of his elven superiors. But I imagine he is one of the few humans to kind of sort of stick up for himself around them, and so the other humans likely look to him as kind of a secondary leader because he's also been around for a long time.
Right on. Okay, so you guys have been kind of dispatched out here because there were 3 people kind of standing over the body or near the body, and one of them was a half-orc. There's not a ton of half-orcs in the city, and for the most part, humans don't really... They're pretty scared of orcs. There's not really a whole lot in these lands, certainly not in New Crescendo, and so they're mostly looked at as monsters and stuff. They're not really known about that much. So most of the Harmony Guard is there to kind of guard over Garruk, the half-orc. So they dispatched a couple of others. Now Lantham is kind of known for being a little bit more of an investigator and a little bit I mean, he's not like a super genius or anything, but he seems to have like the patience for doing a good job, where most of the guards are kind of just like, they just will point a finger or something and just kind of like get on to the next job. That is a big product of how understaffed they are. It's too big of a city with not nearly enough guard forces for them to really handle everything with kind of the diligence that it probably needs. Okay, so that sets up the scene. You guys are coming into this area. As soon as you sort of, you're not exactly sure where you're going, but as soon as you get to around this area, you look to your left and you see a guardsman down the way. He kind of waves you guys over, and you make your way over to him. He says, "It was a grisly death. I don't know what you're gonna do about this, Lantham, but good luck." He looks over at Red and says, "Who's this?"
This here's Red. It's his first day on the job.
Hello, friend.
He looks Red over and sees the pointed ears and is just kind of nods. This is a little bit of an oddity. He's not like, a dirty racist or anything. He's just kind of like, it's just not a normal thing to see. So he just kind of nods and says, "Well, hope you guys do a better job than we did." And he just kind of gestures down the alleyway for you guys to go take a look.
Yeah, Lantham would thank him and then proceed to the quote crime scene.
Cool. All right. Feel free to move your tokens.
Why does my token look like that?
Like,
it's just the 2D picture. It's not like...
Oh, refresh. Just hit F5.
Okay.
That's a known glitch that I'm not quite sure why it's happening, and it's not happening to everybody equally, and I don't know, refreshing usually solves most of these problems.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. So you can go ahead and move your... Yep.
Lantham would approach cautiously and stop before getting near the blood spatter.
Sure.
He's learned from experience that disturbing crime scenes is not the best idea if you're trying to get the right picture.
Sure. It's only been about 30-ish minutes since the guards kind of left this area, so the blood is still pretty wet, pretty fresh. It's pretty well splattered all over. You kind of look to your left and you see a Harmony guard on either side of the alleyway. They're trying to keep onlookers out from kind of the area.
Yeah. So Lantham would point at the still drying blood stain and then turn to Red and say, "What do you see?"
By the gods, I see a lot of blood. Wha-
Take a breath. What do you see?
What does Red see?
Go ahead and roll a let's call it an investigation check. Okay, that's pretty good. So you
That is very good for Red.
you look at the blood first of all, and most of it is kind of pooled in one place, suggesting that there were probably pretty good wounds, and they probably sat for a while. As you get a little bit closer, you notice that there's so much blood, and it's kind of pooling out in multiple areas. So there must have been probably a couple of very deep stab wounds, perhaps arterial even. It looks pretty bad.
And you said the blood is still fairly fresh?
Yeah, it's about half an hour old, and there's so much of it that it hasn't dried out just yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Red would straight away like put a finger in just to kind of see how sticky it is.
It's still sticky. It's still warm. There's a lot of you're in Lower Alto, which is the inside of the crater. This area is known for being muddy, dirty, sandy. It's also known for being, there are nicer part of towns and there are worse part of towns. This is one of the nicer, but it's still in Lower Alto, which is kind of known for being more of the poor area. And in this particular case, there's enough kind of sand or just dirt and like dust particles in it that it's not like it's pure fresh like bright red blood. It's kind of dirty at this point, and a lot of it's soaked in. Yeah.
Okay, so he turns to Lantham and he says, well, I've seen animals bleed out, and this is like there's like maybe more than one deep wound.
Lantham would nod in agreement and then say, and since the blood has not had time to dry all the way, it means that everything happened not too long ago, which we know, but it also means that whoever was standing over the body probably had the most to do with it.
And do we know who? Who was here at the time?
Lantham would look to his left and ask the Harmony guard there.
He doesn't walk in the blood. He steps over. Hey, what can I help you with?
So how many people were discovered with the body?
We've got 3 people that we're accusing. They got brought to the Temple of the Dead for further questioning. There was a woman holding a big stick. There was a big ass half orc standing right over the body, and then there was I guess the husband. Yeah, they were all there.
Lantham frowns. Seemed like it was some sort of family squabble. Those are always messy.
He kind of shrugs. This is kind of above his pay grade. There is a witness if you wanna talk to him.
What I was gonna ask next. Did anybody see anything that happened, or did anybody observe somebody running out of the alleyway or something?
Let me go get the witness. I'll be right back. He kind of walks off, and you kind of glance around a little bit more. You both can make let's start with let's do investigation checks. That's fine.
Would it help if I kind of say what Lantham is kind of looking for right now?
Absolutely.
So he would kind of be looking around to see. I mean, obviously at this point, a lot of people probably trampled over the dirt, but it might be possible to tell if there was some sort of fight or if the person was basically just ambushed.
Okay, go ahead and roll.
I think I did that right.
You did. Okay, so we'll start with Lantham because this is just the lower roll, but also he is looking for something specific. You do, in fact, see a pretty clear sign of struggle. Pretty much all throughout this area, you can see real, like, deep in the dirt. You can see really, like, deep streaks where feet were not just, like, stepping and falling hard and pivoting and stuff, but also, like, sliding and all that stuff. You see some You see some footprints caked on the side of the wall, like they might have gotten slammed and kicked off or something like that. So yeah, there's clear sign of struggle. Red, is there anything you already rolled? But is there anything specific?
I rolled a 16. Yeah, I wanted to know how high up were the marks on the wall. Like they go to what height?
Only about like 2 feet up or something like that. Nothing too big. And you rolled well enough that the feet imprints point downward, the kind of image that you get in your head is someone was maybe grabbed by their front, pushed their back into the wall, and they put their feet against the wall and pushed back off. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. And then as you kind of examine those imprints over there, you look down and you see like little black droplets. Couple of really tiny drops, but some like good thick droplets, maybe like the size of like your thumb joint or something.
Red is going to touch that.
It is warm. But it's a warm day, so that might not mean anything. It's a little bit caked in dirt, just like the other blood is. It's a little bit gooey too. It kind of reminds you of blood, but you're not really sure. Black blood seems odd to you. Roll a. Let's call it a medicine check.
All my best rolls.
Oh, that's not a bad roll.
Dang.
Okay.
It's his first day. He's concentrated. Okay.
You know that orcs have black blood.
Ah, okay. Lantham, come over here.
Oh, you find something.
Look at this. Orc blood.
It's not looking good for our orc suspect then. There was quite the fight here though, and I don't imagine the victim they said was a woman. I don't imagine a woman could have put up this much of a fight against a half orc.
You see the witness kind of coming in with the Harmony Guard.
But let's see if our witness has anything to say.
The witness is a male dressed very simply. Most everyone wears leather in New Crescendo. He's no different. He's kind of looking down at the blood, not trying to step in it. Most people wear sandals too, and so he's not looking to get his like thin leather sandals caked in blood.
Tell me, sir, what did you see here?
Well, I was. He points all the way on the other side of the alleyway, far from where, on the other end from where you guys are. I was out that way, maybe about a block or two down. What is that? That's west. I was down there. Um, I heard like a big bang or like a boom or something. And then I saw this woman. She was wearing like a crown of flowers or something. Like her head was wrapped in it. She was holding like a stick, like a big ass stick, and she was like hauling ass, kind of. She was moving. She was moving like basically over here. Or did I hear the boom first? I can't remember. The boom first or the one? I can't remember.
You said this woman was running towards this area, though.
Yeah. I was. Yeah.
Now, think very carefully. Did you hear the boom before or after?
He thinks about it a little bit. Roll a persuasion check. I think I heard it first. You know what happened is when the boom, a lot of people were running and I don't know, like, because we heard it, so some people were running away and some people were running towards. Maybe I saw her first though, because I don't remember a lot of people running at the time. Did people run immediately? I think people might have been scared when we heard that. I don't. It's. I'm sorry. It's all just a jumble. I'm not really sure.
Lantham nods and smiles at the man reassuringly. It's completely understandable. Now, when you say you heard a boom, do you mean like the boom of a drum? The boom of a hammer hitting something? What kind of a boom do you mean?
It's like if there was like a giant drum, like a mastodon drum or something, and they like hit it real hard, like bam, right? But it was loud enough too that I heard it from, what was that? There was like maybe 3, 4. No, it was two blocks down. I heard it all the way over there, and it like scared everybody, and yeah, so we were. It was just chaos. It was crazy.
Interesting.
Are you saying other people might have heard or seen something?
I mean, maybe. I mean, it was fairly. It's kind of early, so. There are people out and about. Sure.
You heard this boom early, as in before High Shadow, after High Shadow?
No. One clarification. It is High Shadow has not yet happened yet, and High Shadow, for the audience, is Orchestria sits about a half mile wide, and it's about a mile above the ground, floating, the floating island. So around noon, when the sun is fairly directly overhead, it actually kind of eclipses the sun. Orchestria does, and so especially the inside of the crater gets really dark, and that is known as High Shadow. It is about an hour before High Shadow still. I should have mentioned that before, but no, I think I heard it. People were running around. I'm real sorry that I can't remember if I saw her before or after that, but I know that it brought the guard, and that's when the guys got arrested, and I think the girl was there too with the head, the flowers.
So the guards came over here not too long after you saw the woman run this way?
Yeah, it was like right after that, like within a minute or two, I think. Maybe like 5. I mean, maybe 10, but I don't think 10. Like probably 5. Maybe 10. maybe 10.
Is it 1 minute? Is it 5 minutes? Or is it 10? This is very important.
Roll either persuasion or intimidation, depending on what you're going for.
Can Red help at all by just
Yeah.
staring at the guy?
Absolutely. If it's an intimidation check,
Yeah, I'm feeling
go
it needs to be.
go advantage. Red can give you advantage on that.
Here we go. Good lord.
It's not awful. It's not awful. It's level 1. It's fine. He kind of sees you both kind of like just moving in a little bit, and he takes a slight step back. Maybe I think it was 5. Well, all right, hold on. So saw the woman. She was running real frantic like. Big stick. I remember the stick.
And she was specifically running here.
I mean, I didn't ask. I don't know her.
This is where you saw her running towards.
This direction, and then I came over here. I want to know what was going on, and then the guards hauled her out with the big guy and the I mean, the other guy wasn't small, but compared to the big guy, he was pretty fucking small. Yeah. What?
Okay. So let's review here for a second. I think everything's getting a little jumbled up, and I know everybody's had a rough morning. So you saw this woman run towards this alleyway, and then either a minute or 5 minutes later, you heard this boom. And then shortly after that, either a minute or 5 minutes after, the guard came into this alleyway. So everybody was drawn here. Is that correct?
That
timeline of events.
That sounds right.
Okay. So basically, there wasn't a lot of time in between all of these events.
No, not really.
Okay. Did you notice anybody running out of the alley? Either from your direction or...
No, not that I saw. No.
Okay.
So Red turns to Lantham. He's kind of wiping the blood off his hands onto his shirt, and he says, "Okay, so what do we do now?"
Well, I think this gentleman has been very helpful. And we thank him for his time, and we let him know that if he thinks of anything else that could help, all he has to do is talk to any of the Harmony Guard and ask for Lantham.
Lantham.
Red just turns to the guy and says, "Just remind me what your name is again."
It's Bowley.
Bowley. Interesting name.
Thanks. My mom gave it to me.
He nods and just turns to Lantham for direction.
I mean, I think we've seen all we need to here. The next step, we have to go talk to the suspects, hear from them.
Cool.
Right.
All right. So if you guys are ready, we can move to the next scene.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. The leader of the Harmony Guard in the room. Well, first of all, you guys are in the Temple of Daestris. This temple is Daestris is the god of death. Now, Daestris is not. None of the gods are good or evil. All the alignments that we talk about in association with them is more of like a mood or a vibe. They're no one is like purely anything in this game. So Daestris serves a purpose. You know, all of the gods are basically a function of what people see. So, you know, they see the sun, that's Illuven, the sun god. They see the sea, that's Maelstra, the sea goddess, etc., etc. There's 8 gods total, plus the humans. They are incorrect about this. They believe that chaos itself is the god of the elves. the elves say, "You fucking idiots! We don't worship any gods. Chaos is not an entity. It's not a god. You guys are superstitious as fuck." But they can't seem to convince humans of that, so the humans still think that the chaos is the elf god. So you guys are in their temple. It's one of their more prominent temples, of which each of the gods have a few different temples, and then there's a whole bunch of temples devoted to all of the gods fairly equally. The Death Hands, who are these guys here, they dress in a pretty dark and almost black leather, and they, in addition to like preaching about Daestrus and doing sermons and all that stuff, they also serve to prepare the dead. They take care of the dead bodies, clean them. They wrap them up in leather, almost kind of like mummies, and they dispose of the body in the way that is most fitting for that person's beliefs. So if they really worshipped Illuven the most or something, they might burn the body during the day. If they really worship Lunara, the moon goddess, they might bury her at night, or maybe burn her at night. Or for Maelstrom, they usually send them on a little raft out to sea, that kind of thing. So that's kind of what they're doing now. But they are also, on behalf of the Harmony Guard, they are investigating kind of the wounds and stuff. You guys have been brought here. You convinced the Harmony Guard to have this discussion here so that you can, see your wife, your stepmother, and Imrie is the midwife to Bianca, who was pregnant when she died. Now,
quick note, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Imrie.
Sorry, I
Yeah,
said Imrie.
no problem.
My bad. Director Sonus is kind of standing before you. He's kind of a short elf. He's short even for elves, who are, I wouldn't say known to be super short, but they're a little bit shorter than humans typically, not always. He seems bored, honestly. He seems like he has better things to do, like he doesn't really want to be here. But he keeps eyeing Garruk, the half-orc, and he hasn't really let you guys talk to each other so far yet. He doesn't want you collaborating or anything like that. But he's waiting for the priests of Daestrus to kind of tell him what's going on with the dead body. I'm going to give each of you a chance to introduce yourselves. Gabriel, let's start with you.
Yeah, I'm Gabriel Hugo, devotee and priest of Maelstrom. Big kind of former sailor body, muscly, and now preaching the good word of Maelstrom, or the chaotic word of Maelstrom, I guess. Got a small parish that I tend to with my son and with my I tended to with my wife, and yeah, that's my deal.
Cool. One thing to keep in mind for both the players and chat is, even though your tokens show you as armed, they've disarmed you, and your weapons are in they're kind of leaning against the far top left pillar up there. So you're at present, you don't have any of your equipment on you.
For sure.
Okay, Garruk, let's go with you next.
Garruk is a massive half orc. He often appears more orc than human, with green-gray skin. He is the son of Gabriel. He goes by Garruk Gabriel for official purposes, but typically prefers Garruk. He is a orphan of unknown origins from the orc tribes to the far west, and has lived with Garruk for some time. Orcs mature at an rate faster than humans, so he is 16 as of now, which would probably put him at about 23, 24 human years. Um, in his his spare time, he does odd jobs around the city for those who will accept him, but mostly sticks to his family, and more importantly to Gabriel, as his point of contact with humans. He's had a extremely difficult life dealing with humans and prejudice, and holds a lot of hate and bitterness in his heart towards them. He's pretty impartial to elves, but yeah, that's basically all I'll reveal for now.
Cool. And then Imrie.
Imrie is a human woman of relatively modest build, maybe that of a laborer. She's got pale skin, red hair. She constantly wears a garland of flowers on her head. If she's known in the community, it's as a midwife. Her mother has been training her as a midwife for the last 2 to 3 years. She's probably 18 to 19 years old, no older right now. Her mother's been training her as a midwife, and her mother is ready to retire from that trade. Her father has passed away. So she is, just taking on the mantle of a midwife. She's conducted maybe a handful of deliveries, never failed to deliver a baby successfully, and never lost a mother. So she's very proud of her record there, and she is a devotee of Yenna, goddess of life and fertility.
Awesome. Okay, so
I should add, she is shuffling her feet very nervously and biting her lip and wringing her hands occasionally.
yeah, all of you probably seem a little bit out of it for reasons that will be revealed later. Okay, so as you guys have been here for maybe, I don't know, half an hour or less, not too long. Haven't really done much talking, like I said, and now we'll pivot back over real quick to Lantham and Red, who are showing up on the scene. You guys enter the temple. It's rather spooky as you enter in. This temple is made out of pretty thick layers of mud brick. It is quite a fairly large temple. It's about the size of a 2-story building, but it only has 1 story. And it has, from what you can see here, it doesn't have any like braziers or torches or anything like that. Instead, it has a big window in the roof that lets the sunlight in. So that's what you're seeing. But that hole in the roof and the fact that there are no doors really in New Crescendo, it's all pretty much curtains. It lets in a lot of dust and dirt and stuff, and so the ray of sunlight that is before you notice is it's quite dusty in here. It's in the air, and it smells like kind of like smoke and stuff. You can tell from the far end of the curtain over there that there are braziers going throughout the temple.
Okay, as they enter, you definitely hear just Red bombarding Lantha with questions about half-orcs, because he's never seen a half-orc.
Mm-hmm.
And Lantham would be doing his best to answer, but as with most humans in New Crescendo, he probably doesn't know all that much more.
Yeah. And you don't know that it's this particular half-orc, but you have, as we'll reveal, you have had limited interaction with them. So you guys kind of start moving through the place. You come into the next room, and it is just as you expected. It is quite large. You see
got a big black diamond in the middle.
Yeah, that's a shadow effect. That's just the fog of war. It'll be revealed as you walk through it. There's no, you guys don't have torches of your own, so it might look different to Red though, because, or wait, hold on, don't move your token for a second. Let me make sure you have. My bad. There you go. should look better to you now. You've got dark vision, so you shouldn't see
Yep.
as much.
I can see through it.
Cool. So you see a couple of death hands in here. They looks like they're praying. One of them is tending to this one down here is tending to the cleaning of one of these pillars and just trying to like get the dust out, which is basically an impossible task. You also notice that in this room the braziers burn pretty thick smoke, and the ceiling is just caked in like black crust and crud and stuff. The death hand glances your way as you walk through, and he points easterly. He recognizes your uniforms.
Yeah. Lantham would nod in appreciation and head towards the indicated direction.
Okay. Make your way further over. You spot a couple of Harmony guards guarding the last little room, and you walk in there, and sure enough, you're in the room, and you see the body for the first time. You two. It's a woman of for especially Stone Age times, quite into her middle ages. She's probably about 35-ish or so, maybe a little younger. She's already being wrapped up in leather, so in leather strips, so quite a lot of her like wounds and whatnot are covered up, and also she's clearly been cleaned, which probably doesn't help your investigation at all. You look down and you see the three suspects, and you would or would not recognize them. Lantham and Red, you probably don't recognize any of them.
Yeah. So Lantham would glance over to the right and see Gabriel and Garruk, and his eyes would widen a little bit in surprise, and he'd probably mutter a mild curse under his breath. But
Garruk's.
Not out of hatred, more of like, I can't believe it's these guys.
Garruk has been leaning forward, kind of hunched over with his elbows on his knees, just staring blankly in the room. And as the pair of Harmony guards walk in, he kind of notices Lantham, and his purple eyes kind of meet Lantham, and he kind of just closes his and shakes his head, and takes like a big deep breath through his nose and out through his mouth, and leans back against the wall.
Yeah. One thing I did forget to mention, sorry, about Lantham, is he's quite a large human. He's about 6'4" and built like a tank, so he's got kind of a presence about him.
Cool. Director Sonus, the high elf, kind of leader of. He's not the leader of the entire Harmony Guard, but he's like one
Precinct
of the
captain.
He's like a captain basically. He looks at you two as you come in and says, "Oh, good. Now I don't have to be here anymore. Lantham, come here."
Yes, Director. What is it?
He turns back to the three people here and says, "I think it was the orc." He just kind of casually gestures over. It doesn't look like he really cares that much.
Well, let's investigate this properly.
Look, I know this is your thing, but there's like 100,000 of you humans here. If we investigate every crime to the extent you want us to, we would need 500 times the force we actually have. We don't have time for this. Just arrest the orc.
I would really prefer not to. This is a strange case.
He looks over at the orc and says, "Come on, you did it, right?"
Eat shit, knife ear.
Can we just kill him, please? Come on now. This is stupid.
I'm gonna put my hand in front of Garruk and go, "Nobody touches the boy."
Nobody is planning on hurting anybody right now. Everybody just take a deep breath. Let's just
That's not
calm down.
entirely true, Lantham. Come down. This is absurd. Just
Director Sonus, You don't have to be here for this part. I know you don't like when I do these things, so I can handle this myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Guards, come on. Let's. You can keep like you stay here, but everybody else with me. We're getting out of here. Good luck, Lantham. It's fine. No problem. Goodbye. Good luck.
And as
I'm
he
sure it
leaves
was the orc.
room-
Lantham would close his eyes and just kind of sigh for a bit.
And if you want to kill them all, that's fine too.
As soon as the elf leaves the room, Red is noticeably calmer. He's just like, good riddance.
Lantham would step closer to Gabriel and Garruk.
The two Harmony Guard that Sonus left you, they kind of step in a little bit just to kind of keep you protected from the orc.
So I understand there was a bit of an incident this morning. Gabriel, Garruk, if you could just tell me what happened.
Okay. So now we're gonna fucking Tarantino this shit, and we're gonna flash back. And we're going to play out what happened, because my players don't even know exactly what happened yet. And I'm going to let the players decide as we play what they do and do not want to share with Lantham. So the audience will know what happened, but if they don't want to share something specific with Lantham, just say so at the time. And I trust Lantham to not metagame or whatever.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll start with Garruk and Hugo. It is about an hour ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, like an hour, 15, hour 30, something like that. And you are in the city streets, but Gabriel is giving one of his sermons, as he does. He is not a super well-known or super successful priest by any means. And correct me if I'm wrong, Gabriel, but you're a little bit on the fringes even in your own religion, right? So like you're doing your thing, but you're not like a part of like an official church or anything like that. You're just kind of doing your own thing, right?
Right, yeah. He kind of sees himself as the only official church, and like all others are frauds.
Yeah. New Crescendo humans are very religious, just like anyone else, or any other humans. They're not quite as like crazy devout as like the tribes are. There's a little hint, even in the Stone Age, of civilization in their kind of religious beliefs. They definitely, to some extent, put the function of society ahead of the religion in certain ways. You know what I mean? You're starting to see that kind of creep in a little bit with them, but they're still quite superstitious and quite and very, very religious. So people, when there's a town crier, people do stop and listen and stuff. It doesn't always go well. I would say Gabriel, what's your persuasion?
That's the main reason Gabriel carries around a hammer, honestly.
And today Garruk is with you as well. Am I saying your name right? I keep saying Garruk. That's
yeah.
Deep Space
I
Nine.
would say that's like the human pronunciation.
Okay, perfect.
Garruk.
He's with him. He's not always with him, but he's with him sometimes, just because sometimes things get out of sorts, and having a big scary half orc around kind of keeps things from spilling over too much sometimes. And then Garruk, what is your relationship? I know we've talked about this offline, but what is your relationship religiously with your father?
Garruk has always resented the human gods just because of his experience with humans. But because of his close relationship with Gabriel, he's always humored his father and attended his sermons, helped him when he needed him, and done errands for him and duties to the church. Always helped him set up, take down his tent, that sort of thing. So he's pretty involved in his father's efforts, but he personally does not really believe in anything. If anything that comes out of his father's mouth, he agrees that chaos is the natural state of the world, and that to survive in it, you must be a firm standing rock to crash amongst the waves.
That's awesome. And
Well said, my son.
yeah, and chat, keep in mind, it's the Stone Age, right? So things are pretty primitive. People are hardier than, you know, our modern day counterparts and stuff. And the primitiveness of beliefs, religion, all that stuff is definitely shining through too, which is awesome. Okay, so yeah, Gabriel, you are giving a little bit of a sermon. It's up to you if you want to, if you have anything specific.
I got it,
Yeah, okay, go for it, man.
My friends and followers, brothers and sisters in the undercurrent, I thank you all for gathering here today. I want you to take a moment to look around you. Feel the comfort of those who have chosen to come with you. It is a good thing. It is a holy thing. Look above you. See you not the stars in heavens above? No. We see the underside of a city. We live in the absence of their earth, suspended by nothing short of magic. This magic, it is a wild thing. It is a holy thing. Look around you to the filth, the squalor, the heretics, the violence, and the thievery that surround us all. They are those that live in sin. It is an evil thing to live in sin. It is too, however, a holy thing. How then do we reconcile the good, the wild, and the evil?
As you're talking, sorry, 1 second, I just want to interject real quick. As you're talking, Garruk, go ahead and roll a perception check with advantage. Okay, cool. So, Garruk, you see, you kind of look towards your father. He's on a little platform, by the way, like it's not a natural platform. It's just a bunch of like wood planks stacked up about, I don't know, 6 feet high or something like that. So he's kind of like looking down at everybody, so you can see all the faces. You're kind of glancing up at him, and as you look past him, probably, you know, hundreds of meters past him, maybe even a couple blocks down to the west, you see something really odd. It's like you're seeing light, and you kind of squint a little bit, and you know, you have dark vision. It's pretty bright out right now, but you're kind of seeing it a little bit in black and white, as you're kind of used to with dark vision. But it's almost like the light is a tangible thing. You've never seen anything like this before.
Garruk would kind of get lost in the wonder of what he's looking at, and he would feel almost a need to investigate, and he'd kind of push his way through the middle of the crowd and try and move closer to the other side of his father to try and take a better look and see if he can maybe shield his eyes from the breeding sun and see what he can garner from what he's viewing.
Sure. One thing is, it's hard to see, but there's a wall right here, so you're kind of at you're kind of in a dead end. Now you know these streets pretty well, so you can easily leave this area and kind of go north or south, or probably north is this.
Okay. Yeah, he'd probably go north and loop around. Is he seeing over the wall?
Yeah, you're saying it's almost like you kind of get like the sun going down over the horizon kind of effect, but just with like the buildings, that kind of thing.
Got it.
So real quick, I'm going to leave it to Lantham to decide to start. Who do you want to start following? Do you want to follow Garruk's story or Gabriel's?
Let's keep with Gabriel's for now.
Okay. Garruk leaves, and he goes north up the alleyway. Gabriel, you may continue.
It is a world that sways like the seas, ever churning, its depths infinite. It is in that chaos that I tell you, we cannot reconcile good and evil. We cannot reconcile wild magic. We can only accept it. The other gods will give you answers. They will ask for your love. They will ask for our love, and us mortals ask for their favor. Their worship is only questions, asking. I tell you this with an openness of heart. I do not know. I say that their gods are false, for they exist in questions. There is only one true goddess, and she is the question herself. She is the sea, and in her embrace we shall watch the floods of chaos wipe this world away again and again and again. We shall all be cleaned in this chaos until we recognize that the world was always hers. The love of our goddess is a hard love. It demands total self-surrender, a disdain of our own humanity, and yet it alone can reconcile us to suffering, to death and birth, to chaos and order. Her love alone can justify them, since we cannot understand them. Then, and only then, can we mistake God's will for our own, not as a favor, but as a question and a guaranteed fact. Maelstrom is truth. Our goddess is the truth. I tell you this, sure as the tides.
Your audience is kind of nodding along, and they seem interested. Roll a persuasion check with advantage, because that was fucking awesome.
Thanks, man.
That's good. Yeah, they're into it. They are very into it. They're you've noticed that over the course of your sermon, several of them have kind of like stepped forward a little bit. They're a little bit more crushed together. No one seems to mind. They all get it. And then you've got like a bucket or a bowl of something next to you, right?
Yeah, I reach down into the bucket and I pull up salt water, and I say, "Come now for her touch." And I start to like kind of almost like spray it on, like kind of flick it on people.
Sure. You do this once, and at first they kind of flinch a little bit. They haven't exactly experienced this kind of thing before. But you keep talking, and your words are so powerful, and you do it a second time, and they kind of nod along, and they a couple of them even hold hands, and they didn't come in together, but they might leave together, and then you reach down to do it a third time, and your hand goes into the bowl or into the bucket of salt water that you personally brought from the Bravura Bay, which leads out into the void, which is the ocean, and you suddenly feel very strange. It's almost as if the bucket of water just got 50 degrees colder, and it kind of jolts through you, but instead of waking you up, it's almost like it sends your mind into this deep fog, and you're not really sure what to make of it.
It's as if I'm underwater, I'm assuming.
Yes, exactly. Roll a willpower save.
Okay. That's wisdom, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry. I'm so used to 3rd edition.
No worries.
Okay, perfect. So your mind goes foggy, and you close your eyes, but you can't even, through your eyelids, you can't even see the sun anymore. You can't feel the warmth of it. You feel, this is the strangest feeling you've ever had in your life. And you sense this presence, but you're not able, you're mentally, you're scared, and you wish in this moment that you could be stronger, but your hand recoils from the water, and you kind of snap out of it. You look very shocked, and you look out over the audience, and they're just kind of looking at you, and you feel the sweat coming down your brow, but when you touch it, your hand comes away cold, and you realize even though you only put your hand in the bucket, you're quite moist with salt water. You can just feel the way it's drying up your skin, and there's something else, even though you no longer feel the presence, you no longer feel like you're underwater, but when you look out of the alleyway, you sense something there, and you don't know what to make of it. You see some people walking to and fro, but you don't really know. Something's drawing you out there, and it's this deeply uncomfortable feeling. It's like you're sensing the night beyond, and if that sounds like just words, it's because it is. You can't describe this feeling, but something scares you, but intrigues you, and you don't know what to make of it, but you feel drawn to whatever is out there. Maybe it's the presence you felt in the water. You don't think so. You're not sure. What do you do?
I'm gonna like weakly turn to the crowd and just say, "Trust her. I must go," and then stumble off in that direction.
They all kind of like, what the what? That was very abrupt. And you start making your way out, and as you do so, you kind of look a little bit south, and there's to keep Foundry from crashing, I don't have like 100 tokens in here, but you see one person in particular who is walking out from this alleyway into the wider street, and he's kind of walking south away from you.
Do I get like a good look at him? Like,
you get a decent look at him. He's human. He's kind of pale of skin, and very slender, and he's dressed in like pretty dark brown leather from shoulder to ankle.
Yeah. I'd imagine all of this like ocean feeling is giving me like flashbacks to shipwrecks that I've been a part of, and I'm really not doing so hot. So I'm just mostly trying to get out there to whatever's calling me.
Mm-hmm. So you start moving slowly down there. Roll a let's call it a dexterity saving throw now. Or no, you know what? Make it a Constitution saving throw. Okay, good. Yeah, you start. You pick yourself up. You're feeling almost seasick, but you're making your way. You're making your way down.
I noticed that Garruk is gone.
You have, yes.
Okay.
He's gone, and you don't see him at all. As you get to the mouth of the alleyway that he came out of, the guy that you're following is pretty far in the distance. He's not as restrained as you are. You're doing okay, but you're definitely
stumbling a little.
Yeah, and so he's gotten a little bit further away from you, and you don't feel quite as drawn to him anymore. But now you look down the alleyway, and you sense another presence down there. Feels very similar. You are not sure what the hell to make of this. You've went from not ever feeling this before ever. Like, there's one thing, like, you're very devoted, and you've definitely felt like you've had experiences before that prove your faith or whatever, but this is a tangible feeling that is solidifying your reality in a way that you've never. You didn't know there was a higher level of belief until this moment, and and that alleyway is calling you.
I'm just like drenched in like sweat or water or whatever, and like stumbling down and murmuring, like, "She's calling to me."
You make your way. You're going down the alleyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you start making your way down there. You don't know what I keep saying this, but you don't know what this feeling is. But as you're working through your emotions, you realize that it's almost like you're focusing in on your darkest, most horrifying anguish, your darkest feelings, your darkest inclinations. You're thinking about I don't know if you've ever do you think your character's ever killed somebody before?
No, not
Okay.
intentionally. I mean, he's been around death because he's been on the sea.
Sure.
Never.
You're thinking about those feelings. You're thinking about friends you've lost to sea. You're thinking about, that fist fight you got into as a little kid and you hopped on somebody and just started beating their face, and that level of rage it's like you're flashing back to all those things, and you suddenly just have to like catch your breath. You stumble over to the wall and just are just panting, and it's almost like you're having a panic attack, but you're not. You're scared, but the feelings, the deep feelings, it's like you're experiencing them, but they're not coming from within you. They're coming from deeper down this alleyway. And your vision starts to fog a little bit, and you feel your mind fogging with it. And you feel like you're back in the water again. Just like you felt when your hand was in the bucket, but it's not now. And your brow is as dry as ever. And within this fog, within this darkness, you sense more intensely than ever. It's at first it's just sensation, emotional sensation, but as you slowly start to clear the fog away a little bit, you can feel that presence again. It's different from the alleyway presence. It's whatever you felt before, and it's all happening so fast, and you can't really process it, but you don't really get a sense of what it is, or at least you don't see what it is, but you can feel what it is, and you know that it's Maelstra, but her voice, it's weirdly both exactly what you would expect if Maelstra was somehow a humanoid person, but it's also completely different from what you would have expected. It sounds like the sea itself, and you are not hearing these words, but you are within like a deep rumble in your chest. You are feeling these words, and they say, deep, find chaos. And then it fades, and all that you're left with is the presence deeper into the alleyway.
Using the wall as support, I'm going to keep edging forward.
You make your way down, and as you stumble out of... as you stumble around the corner, you find yourself with Garruk standing over your wife's body. You look further down, and you see Imrie at the other end of the hall, or the other end of the alleyway. And that's when the guards show up and haul you away. Is there anything about any of that experience you don't want to share with Lantham and the others?
I'd want to share all of it, and specifically saying, while you fools decided to keep me and my son captive, you let whoever left that alleyway and my wife escape into the night.
Lantham would cock his head to the side. So there was somebody else in the alleyway.
Before we got there, yes.
He turns to Garruk. All right, now let's talk about what you saw.
Garruk, we're going to pick up from the moment where you are fucking off out the alleyway. And as soon as you get out there, you look out the other way, and strangely enough, you see Bianca, Gideon's wife and your technically mother. And it looks like she's not running, but she's kind of hurrying through the crowd. She's looking over her shoulder and moving quite in a hurried pace.
It's Gabriel. You said Gideon, but
Oh,
no
that's
big
weird.
deal.
Sorry.
So Garruk, upon leaving his father, his mind is kind of trying to remember exactly what he saw. Just like how could he get there? How could he, make that way towards the light? And as he kind of reaches the point where he sees Bianca, he's kind of snapped out of it. It's uncommon for her to be around during his father's sermons, and he immediately is kind of alerted by the way that she's moving through the crowd, and so he makes an effort to follow her, or at least maybe call her name and try and stop her.
So you call out to her?
Yes.
She has already, as you kind of call out to her, she's already kind of crossed over. You kind of get the sense that she kind of glanced over, but like you didn't lock eyes with her or anything, and she doesn't step back out into like view.
So Garruk, upon noticing that, seems like it's not uncommon for her to ignore him or to pretend he doesn't exist. But the fact that she looked at him as he called her name and is moving in such a hurried fashion kind of sends him into a panic. He's feeling more so his father's emotions for his stepmother rather than his own, and decides to follow her.
Okay. You make your way out. How fast are you going? Like, are you running to go after her, or are you...
I'd say I am equipped with my hammer, my
Yes.
maul.
Yeah.
It's like a steady jog, as fast as he could run with such a large weapon.
Okay. Because you hurried, you don't have to make a check or anything. You spot her. She's frantically looking around. You spot her. She doesn't spot you, and she moves her way into the alleyway down there.
Garruk will follow her, kind of shoving his way through the crowd if he needed to, to try and catch up to her.
Okay. As you make your way to or as you kind of arrive at the end of the alleyway, roll an insight check for me real quick.
Okay.
Okay. It's not unlike your mother to ignore you. You guys don't have the best relationship for sure. But this is out of the ordinary for sure. And you just get the strangest feeling, and you pause ever so slightly right before you reach the mouth, and you think it might be a good idea to peek in instead of jump in, but it's up to you whether or not you're going to follow that instinct.
So upon that realization, Garruk kind of stops, and he kind of questions his own thoughts and his own motives, and he kind of pushes himself against the wall, and he just takes a little bit of a peek around the corner, just to kind of spot her and see what might be going on.
You see her she's talking to a man that you do not recognize. He's tall, lanky, human, pale-skinned, and it looks like they are talking in kind of a hurry. She's holding a basket, and she pulls something from it and stuffs it kind of into her tunic and hands him the basket, and he nods, and then they kiss very passionately, kind of almost grossly, like tongues deep down each other's throats, kind of like just like a raw energy that is, you've never seen her. You've seen her and your dad get like intimate. I mean, not like that, but like, you know, they've kissed, they've held hands. This is a level of energy that she's never shown before.
So she's shorter than this man, I'm assuming. So
Yeah.
Garruk kind of gets a good look at his face, could recall it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Upon seeing this, he kind of doesn't know what to do. He hesitates, and he thinks to his father, who's, you know, just around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And he decides that he's gonna pop out and just, Bianca.
The guy looks up at you, and Bianca immediately twirls and her eyes go wide, and the guy immediately rushes out of the, he's booking it. Bianca just kind of pauses and just kind of like holds her hands up, and in not in like a I surrender, more like a like let's be calm here kind of way.
Garruk, you know, cannot really help when something upsets him or something excites him. His heart begins to beat, and he takes a couple steps into the alleyway, and he just kind of looks confused, upset. What is this? What have you done?
The guy rushes away, and Bianca kind of takes a few steps back and says, Garruk, this isn't what it looks like.
It looks pretty obvious to me what you were doing.
You notice she's kind of backing away out of the alleyway. Are you going in, or are you staying where you are, or what are you doing?
Yeah, Garruk is going to take a few more steps, kind of careful to keep his distance from her. He realizes that his presence upsets her, and has kind of, as a practiced way, has learned to stay away from her and avoid her as much as possible.
Sure.
And he's going to continue to do that in this interaction.
Sure. So you step in just a little bit, though, right? You can move your own
Yes.
token. I mean, you can move yourself to wherever you
Oh,
want to be.
okay. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. That's totally fine. So you move in, and she kind of like looks down, and it's this look of like, oh God, how do I explain this?
I'm sorry. My headphones are cutting out, and I lost you at right before you began to speak.
Sure. She's kind of looking down, and she just has this look on her face like she doesn't know how to. She doesn't know what she wants to say, but it's clear that she's trying to find the words. Roll an insight check.
Okay.
Yeah, it's clear to you that she's been caught red-handed, wasn't expecting it, doesn't have an excuse, doesn't know what to say, and she's just kind of like panicking. And she kind of takes another step back. Garruk, you can't tell your father. This is a me and him thing. It's not what it looks like. And she's clearly just like looking for the right lie or something to like calm you down and like somehow make all this go away.
You can't hide the truth. You know I will tell him. Who is that person? What were you doing? Why? He
She
says, getting a little bit angrier as he takes his couple steps forward.
kind of looks back, and she looks back over at you and takes a step forward, just like, look. Your father and I, we love each other, but she takes another step forward and just kind of puts a hand on your chest and just says, look, he's just somebody that I met, and she suddenly pulls an obsidian blade from her tunic and attempts to stab you in the chest with it. I'll give you a dexterity saving throw to see if you can react before her.
Okay. Nope.
That's not going to do it. Okay, she gets an attack against you. She misses. She pulls it out, and you don't really catch the blade in time, and she just lunges. But at the last second, you're a big guy, and you just kind of catch her wrist and just kind of push it aside, and you're just kind of, that is a turn that you definitely did not expect. She's never shown an ounce of violence in her life. At most, she might, yell a bit or something, but you have no idea what to make of this. How do you respond?
Garruk immediately upon dodging that attack, his rage boils over, and he goes into a absolute blood rage. And I'm gonna just activate that ability. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I just click it?
Let me see.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Perfect. Nice. Got the little token and everything. Okay, cool.
So he goes into a rage, and he grabs her by the wrists, and he bends it. He's gonna attempt to grab her by the wrist and bend it as far as he can and disarm her.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your attack.
Would that be an attack, or is that a strength check or something?
Yes,
or?
I think it's chat. Remind me, is it or someone in here remind me? Is it an attack roll, or is it a strength check to do a grapple?
That's a really good question.
So unarmed strike, so it's an attack. Okay.
It's technically different than an unarmed strike. So an unarmed strike is a hit. A grapple would be competing athletics versus their either dexterity or athletics. It counts as an attack, though.
Gotcha. Okay. So roll.
So I still have to roll to hit.
So, but it's a.
I don't know if you have to roll a hit. Let me check. I'm not sure.
Is it an athletics check? Strength check?
It
Strength
definitely
check.
is an
athletics check. Nobody
Yeah.
in chat knows. We'll go with strike. We'll just say it's a strength. A strength check. We'll go with that, and we'll.
My DM is watching
Okay.
and is shaking his head right now. I'm sure.
So strength ability check.
Yes, that'll work.
I think I get advantage on that through rage.
Yep.
Let me see.
Sure.
Okay.
That works.
Oh, it's only if that's a saving throw. So I'll just do it with normal.
It says advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. In the
got
description.
it. Okay, my bad.
Just looked it up. You do not have to make an attack check, and it is a strength athletics check contested by the target's athletics or acrobatics.
Gotcha. Okay,
No
so
attack roll.
so then you should get an additional +2, so that's a 21. Yeah, she's not going to get out of that one. So she gets to use athletics or acrobatics?
Yes.
Perfect. Then she
Her
will
choice, yeah.
use acrobatics. That's not going to do it. You grab her wrist and you yank it back, and the the obsidian blade crashes against the wall and shatters into a lot of pieces, and she is now disarmed and sort of at your mercy. Go ahead.
So as he disarms her, he drops his maul to the ground, and he picks her up by her like arms and lifts her in the air, and he's kind of like in this rage. So he's just kind of like looking at her, and his eyes, who are normally like this shade of purple, are just kind of lost in this lust. And he just kind of looks at her, and he opens his maul wide, and he throws her into the dirt. And he just kind of like takes a minute to calm himself, to stop from like beating her to death.
Okay, so you toss her and slam her onto the ground, and then roll a wisdom saving throw for me.
Okay. Ooh.
That's a good
Jesus. That was, I get a -1.
roll. You suddenly feel incredibly strange. Maybe it's the rage. Maybe it's all of everything that just happened, just short-circuiting your brain. Maybe it's something else. But you just suddenly, like, it's like all of your focus just like stops on a pinprick, and you block everything else in the universe out except for this very tiny moment. And then suddenly you kind of come out of it, and you find that Bianca is dead at your feet. When you look out into the alleyway, you see your father standing there staring at you. And as you turn around behind you, you see Imrie standing at the other end of the alleyway. And you just suddenly feel like very dazed and confused, and you're just glancing around, and you don't know what to make of it all. And that's when the Harmony Guard swarms in and grabs you up and brings you away. Is there anything of that experience that you do not want to share?
Garruk will share the entire story in its entirety. No, he won't leave any details out.
Okay. Lantham? And Red, for that matter, and anyone else who wants to talk about that stuff.
Lantham would raise his eyebrows slightly in surprise and frown and give Garruk a look of slight pity, because clearly it doesn't look good for him. But he turns to the Harmony Guards to his left and right and says, "Were there any shards of an obsidian blade recovered?"
He looks over and shakes his head, and we didn't see anything like that, no.
And Red, when we were looking around in the alleyway, I didn't see anything. Did you?
He crosses his arms and shakes his head. I only saw the orc blood.
Orc blood. Garruk, were you injured at all?
Not that I can remember. She narrowly missed my chest with that blade.
Why don't we take a look?
By all means.
Lantham would step a little closer and help Garruk, lift his shirts up around and just kind of check for wounds all over.
Sure. Roll a investigation's fine. I don't know if that's fine. That's fine. You look him over, nothing.
Huh. And you're sure it was orc blood, Red?
Yeah, my uncle told me about it. He's the one that teaches me most of my lessons. And
Interesting.
yeah.
So where did the somewhat fresh orc blood come from then? Lantham would furrow his brow and turn around back to the body.
And before you do this, Gabriel, this is your wife
Yeah.
cheating on you. This is news to you.
It's
Yeah, he would do that while Gabriel's probably wrecked.
I think Gabriel would just kind of be staring down at the ground, brows furrowed, trying to piece a lot of this together in his head.
Sure.
Garruk kind of sits there, his back against the wall as he had remained when Lantham had initially entered. And he kind of looks at his father over his shoulder, kind of looking at his hood. And he almost like he wants to say something, but he just kind of hangs his head and kind of leans forward again and joins him at mimicking his position and just looking kind of blankly.
I don't know how to describe this day other than chaos. Pure chaos.
Gambit, you said that somewhere in the room there were weapons lying around?
Yeah, in the this corner up here.
Yeah. Well, I think Red, he would just... well, he's generally interested in weapons, and
Sure.
he'd notice them and would kind of go over and probably try and pick up the biggest one just to see if he can.
Well, there's three main. There's some daggers and stuff, I'm sure too, and some javelins and whatever. But the three main weapons that you see is a very large piece of wood that looks like a nice club. It has a nice extra little knot on the end. It's almost kind of mace-like in its look. There is a fairly standard, albeit massive, stone hammer, axe, maul. It's a maul. It's a giant stone hammer. And then you notice you've seen dwarven weapons before, but you notice there is a fairly large dwarven warhammer. It's very noticeable dwarven stone technology because it tends to come in shapes that don't seem natural. This one is a perfectly square stone block, and it looks like it has little shards of what might be bone or very white, very perfectly shaped, pointed rocks sticking out of it in a bunch of different directions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would he notice anything in particular while he's kind of playing around with them?
Roll an investigation check. Yeah. So nothing really stands out about them beyond what I've already said.
Cool.
Yeah, they're nice. They're neat. None seem like overly damaged and stuff. The problem with most, aside from the dwarven weapon, most Stone Age tech is pretty shoddily put together by like modern standards, and so it's like the hammer's probably wrapped in, it's probably like a big stone wrapped with leather cord or maybe plant fiber cord to a big stick. So it's kind of hard to glean too much out of it.
All right.
Lantha, meanwhile, would ask the attendants about the wounds on the body.
One of them looks over at you and says, yes, it looked like she was quite brutalized, struck multiple times with probably sharpened implements, perhaps knives, but there are abrasions on her palms, on her knees. One of her hips looks like she took quite a hard fall. She has a couple of deep wounds on her back, but also one on her belly. Could be that she was pummeled quite hard with a hammer, or perhaps knifed, or she looks over at Garruk and at his big teeth and says, perhaps bitten? But she kind of shrugs at that, and
Lantham would sigh to himself and ask to see the wounds himself.
sure. The other guy says she's already been bandaged around her torso and below. Most of the wounds are covered up, but already, and we should not disturb the dead once she has begun the wrapping process. But you can see here, and he kind of shows you one of her knees, and it looks like she probably slammed down onto the dirt,
Yeah.
or like a mud brick or something pretty hard, and her hands look like they look pretty scuffed up. Doesn't look like she was like stabbed or like hit or anything. Just looks like she scraped her hands and knees and whatnot. He shrugs and says, the belly wound appears to be it was opened, but it does not look like it was cleanly cut.
As if it was torn open?
No, it's more like a hard or perhaps repeated impact from I don't know. Perhaps he glances over. Could have been any of those weapons. They're all fairly blunt and heavy. Any of them probably could have done it.
Lantham would frown and think to himself a little more. And then he would turn over to Imrie.
All right. So, it's Imrie's story now. It is a little bit earlier in the day than the previous flashbacks, but not really by much. Imrie is Bianca's midwife. She is kind of helping her through the whole like process of what will eventually be her giving birth, but they are probably members of the same church. I don't know if we established that for sure, but I assume probably. Bianca believes in all of the gods, and where Gabriel kind of does his own thing as far as like preaching and all that stuff goes. She tends to be a part of a specific temple that worships all the gods equally. So you guys are kind of doing some light trading. She's got a basket full of herbs. Some are just like some are actually medicinal. Some are little ingredients for stew and stuff like that. And she's trading for a bunch of stuff. She's trading for mostly food, fruits, and like sort of like I wouldn't say exotic, but mostly what people in New Crescendo eat is grains and lentils and some flatbread and that kind of thing. And so anytime there are traders coming in, or humans who have gone off into the woods and picked some berries, or hunted for some meat or something, that's always something that goes pretty quick. And so you guys are kind of in there doing some light shopping, essentially. Bianca is just kind of, looking at some stalls. It's like I said, I'm trying to keep, in terms of like random NPCs that don't matter, I'm keeping the maps kind of spare of them, but it's a fairly bustling little market area. Not a lot going on, but just enough. So Imrie, what do you think your relationship is like with Bianca? I kind of saw them as like kind of friendly, maybe even friends.
Yeah. At what point in Bianca's Bianca's pregnant, right?
Yeah, she's
At what point is she?
she's got maybe a few weeks left.
So she's nearing the end, yes.
Yeah.
So as I think customarily as she grows closer to, you know, delivery, the time for delivery, Imrie would aim to spend more and more time with her, becoming, you know, forming a bond, a friendship, maybe providing her with some spiritual guidance. Although she respects all the gods, Bianca meaning, and Imrie does as well, but Imrie would try to guide Bianca to attune her thoughts a little more towards Yenna, so that you know, for a successful delivery, get her mind in the right state, and just serve as an overall companion and friend.
So Bianca kind of nods as you guys are discussing the birth, the gods, all that stuff, and she says, "So, you know, I know that Yenna is the goddess of life, but what about Visaria? Doesn't she? You know, she's nature. Isn't her domain animals? Who covers animal births? Is it Yenna? Is it Visaria? Is it who is it?"
All gods work together in these things. They are all connected and bound, each in their own way. And with a matter such as an animal birth, Visaria and Yenna would work together when necessary.
She nods and smirks and kind of holds your hand a little bit and just gives it a little squeeze and says, "It's good to have these conversations with someone who doesn't merely worship the sea, let me tell you. I'm only kidding." She kind of strokes her belly just a little bit and negotiates with with one of the market people for some meat or something, and go ahead and roll a perception check for me. It's not good.
That's not good. No.
That's a natural one. So, yeah, you don't really notice anything, I suppose.
At all.
Like literally at all. Like the wind kind of goes by, you get a bunch of dust in your eye, and you spend the next kind of minute just kind of washing it out of your eye a little bit. And I was not expecting a 1 of all things, but we'll roll with it. It's cool. So you kind of as you're kind of like digging this stuff out of your eye, you suddenly get tackled to the ground, completely out of nowhere. There are 3 men hooded, wielding little blades, and they are pouncing on you guys rapidly. I'm going to give you a dexterity saving throw, but roll with disadvantage since you did not see this coming, like, at all.
For sure. I'm just trying to find my saves on my sheet. I guess I could roll up here. Huh?
If you look right underneath the number, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's not going well for you.
Off to a blazing start, damn it.
So these 3, they let me give her a save too. This is awesome. Okay, great. Excellent. So you two get completely fucking tackled by these 3 guys dressed very similarly, and they're wearing very tight leather clothing, and all kind of dyed the same way, almost like it's I don't know, like a uniform almost. And they've got these tiny, not tiny, I mean they're basically very long bone daggers by the looks of it, and you get tackled by the first guy, and Bianca gets decked from behind, and is basically like kind of like bent over the table. It rocks hard, and the guy in the stall looks like really surprised and takes a step back, and the third guy is standing back behind there. I'll give you one more perception check.
Oh God. Normal, just normal.
Yeah, just a normal one for this one.
There
Okay, there we go. You see the final guy. He is waving his arms in the air in a very specific pattern. You have no idea what the hell that is all about. But as this happens, you glance behind you, just kind of a glance as you slam into the table. And you notice kind of rippling out from this final guy here, the drapes over the market stalls suddenly just kind of like hold still, and you notice the dust in the air suddenly like pauses, and that all kind of hits you in an instant, and you're just in an instant later you do not see the transition, but this first guy is decked onto his back, kind of rolling backwards. This guy is stumbled over here, and Bianca has grabbed your hand and is saying, "Run!" And she is booking it out of there. We're gonna roll initiative now. This is kind of combat mode, but you don't have to feel like you have to fight 1v3 to the death or anything like that. All right. It's the first guy's turn, and he spends his turn getting up and kind of reevaluating. He sees Bianca running off. The next guy sees her, and then he looks over at you, and he is still kind of waving his arms just a little bit, but it's a lot more subtle movements this time. But he's looking at you like he's very confused, and he you see his empty hand clutch up to his kind of neck, almost like he's grabbing a hold of a necklace or something, and he grips it tight, and you feel this wave go out. Roll a wisdom saving throw. That's a good roll. You suddenly feel this massive shift. You feel an impact, but not like it's like every molecule of your body was just like hit with like it's almost like you're standing too close to like an amp when it's really like a subwoofer or something when it's going like when it's pounding really hard, and it's
like
just
a thrum.
Yeah, and it's just, but it's like it kind of like you feel energized by it almost, and as this is happening, you are probably recalling the conversation you had just had. Your Yenna is never far from your mind, but you're thinking about this, and as he as he clutches his necklace, he looks very frustrated, and he charges over to you, and he goes to stab you, but you don't know what to do. You're unarmed, despite what your token looks like. You're unarmed, and you hold your hands out to make him stop when suddenly your let's see here. Go ahead and I don't know if this needs a. Does this need a roll? Yeah. You're gonna completely without meaning to. You've never cast a spell in your life. Target him and cast Guiding Bolt. You hit him. Go ahead and roll damage. That's pretty good. Yeah, you you like I said, you've never cast a spell before in your life. It's possible you've seen an elf cast a spell before. It's for humans, it's not really a common sight, so there's a very good chance you never have. You don't know anything about magic, really. To you, you worship the gods, and the gods do miracles, and you hear things, and everybody's superstitious. But yeah, so you hold out your hands to stop him, and you don't feel like this is coming from you. You feel like a conduit. You feel like this power is rushing through you, and you feel in your soul the love and power and life of your god. And light explodes from your hands and rockets into this guy, and he goes flying backwards, slams into the wall, and immediately just slumps to the ground, completely unmoving. This immediately gets the attention of the other two, who just look stunned, like this is not what humans are supposed to do.
I assure you, Imrie looks as stunned as they.
Bianca is just taking off, like she's just full out running, and she's gone and off the map before you have a chance to do anything. She doesn't take one look back. I kind of counted that as not your turn, so you're welcome to take another one.
Okay, but I am still unarmed.
You are.
Is this fellow here? Is he still on the ground? You turned him, but is he still? You said he was knocked back.
He's like on his stomach basically at this point. He's kind of rolled over, and he's ready to get back up, but he's still down.
Imrie's going to go ahead and move past him and just attempt to follow Bianca.
Okay.
As fast as she can.
Sure.
She's outnumbered and quite scared and has no idea what's just happened.
Totally. Roll. You can move your token. Well, here. Do you want to follow her? Exactly.
Yeah, I do. I don't know if he's gonna get a swipe at me as I go by or what, but
he's on the ground. He's still reeling from whatever happened that you didn't exactly witness, and so you're not quite sure. But roll a quick perception check, and it's like their fourth one, but roll another one for me.
It's okay. It's one thing I'm good at.
Yeah, you are. You start running through, and to your left, like right here, you see a guy in the stall, completely frozen, like his entire existence is on pause. And directly in front of him, you see a large wooden club, but it's quite irregular for a club. It has a very mace-like, sort of like wooden knot at the end with lots of little, like little nodules from the wood being sort of shaped. It is a fine-looking mace, if you wish to snatch that up on your way out.
I will do that, and then thinking twice, filled with anger at this sudden assault on a pregnant woman and her companion. I will turn after grabbing the mace and attack this fellow here instead of continuing to flee.
Whack him.
Alrighty. I will probably continue to flee afterward.
Sure.
But
target him first because it looks like you're targeting yourself, and I don't want you to hit
gotcha.
yourself.
Yep.
That's not good.
Oh God.
Shit, I thought my luck was bad.
I'm hot and cold.
You turn around and you go to overhand swing. Your club touches the sort of painted leather roof, and that leather roof should be flapping in the wind and be quite loose and really shouldn't have impeded you at all. But as soon as that wood touches, it's like you hit solid adamantium, and it does not fucking budge in the slightest. And it just completely holds you up enough that it ends your turn, and it's now that guy's turn. He is still on the ground, and so rather than getting straight up, he tries to lash out very expertly. His legs splay out towards your ankles, and he tries to basically like scissor trip you onto the ground. Let's see here. Let's go athletics check. All right, you can go ahead and roll strength, or sorry, athletics or acrobatics to defend against that. Nice. He, in fact, does trip you. You fall hard onto your side, and he gets up. He kind of rolls towards you and grabs like the back of your hair and is getting ready to do more. But that's about the end of his turn, I think. The other guy gets up and starts running, but he runs right by you guys, and he stops. Well, he doesn't really stop, but on his way, he says, "That was a bolt of light, you fool!" And he just keeps running for his full dash. Something like that, yeah. And he's dead. Bianca's gone. All right, it's your turn.
Buoyed as much by the other assassin's words as anything, Imrie. So I'm prone, right?
Yep.
Okay, I will drop the club, look at my hands, and pray to Yenna that whatever that was, I need it one more time.
Okay.
And I need it now.
Sure. Since you're right there and these guys clearly are not used to fighting somebody who has magic, you can roll your attack with advantage.
Okay. Did I just untarget him or target him?
He is not targeted. Can you not see the... It should be like a...
I can.
Oh,
No.
okay,
I just wasn't understanding what I was seeing. So
Gotcha.
All right.
That is a hit. Go ahead and roll damage. So it's not like you're skilled with this, but it's just like all the adrenaline, the emotion, you're doing what you can. You mutter this prayer and just like touch them with your hands, and sure enough, you feel this surge of power. You literally see the light channeling up your arms into your hands and out, and he goes flying. His leather around his chest, just like seared. And he basically does like 3 backflips over you and lands hard on his stomach and is not moving. The last guy is sprinting off, however, and,
Right.
And he gets away, and that will, for the moment, end combat.
All right. I will. I feel wounded. Not wounded. Sorry. Just fatigued, drained, as though all that adrenaline and all that, whatever that power was, has been sort of left me, and now at this moment, and I'm just exhausted. But Imrie picks up the stick, the mace-like object, and pursues as fast as she can. Actually, you know what? Upon thinking about it real quick, I would probably do a quick search of these bodies to see if they have any sort of indicator of what, any holy symbol, any kind of anything that might give me a clue as to what they are.
Sure. Go ahead and roll investigation. That's a good fucking roll.
Hot and cold, boys. Hot and cold.
That's like the perfect roll you needed for this check. Okay, so you don't have a whole lot of time if you have any chance of helping out Bianca, but so you first of all, you look down and these daggers are not made of bone like you originally thought. They look like they are little wooden daggers, but they don't look carved. You've seen Elven Volanti before, and Elven Volanti are typically long or like scimitar-like wooden swords with lots of thorns around the edge. They're quite brutal weapons. They're not really they're not slicing weapons so much as like you hit somebody, the thorns dig into their flesh, and then you're supposed to drag it, which rips their flesh right off. It's actually, even though they look very beautiful and elegant, they're actually
Sounds brutal.
It's probably the most brutal weapon in the game. They look like they are made out of that same sort of Volanti kind of elegance. They do not have sharpened edges. They do not have thorns, but the tip is shaped very, very, very sharply. So sharply that it almost reminds you of like the few times that you've seen like an obsidian blade or something. It is, it's impressive looking stuff. The other thing you find is you remember that he grabbed a hold of something underneath his robes, but like clearly around his neck, and you dig out this kind of it looks like it's made out of like thin elven vine rope, and at the base of it is this little red crystal, or maybe a gemstone or something. It's about the size of maybe like your pinky nail. It's really, really tiny, and it's kind of wedged in between two slightly larger like slivers of wood, so that some delicate elven vine rope can be wrapped around it and held in place. And it seems to glimmer with a with kind of a light of its own, and it doesn't seem like it's merely catching the sunlight.
All right, that I would take. I believe I would leave the daggers. Yeah, it's a split-second decision, but
Okay.
Imrie's not really a violent person, despite the fact that she just blasted 2 people.
Sure.
But she would take the necklace to try to at some point in the future try to discern where this came from.
Sure.
But she would take that and quickly pursue after.
Sure. As you run out, you casually notice that people are moving around again. Nobody really has taken notice of you yet.
So they don't seem to notice that anything has happened?
Correct.
Interesting.
And do you chase off after Bianca?
Yes, indeed, I do.
Okay, so we're going to move over here. You barely catch her here and there. You run for about 2 or 3 blocks, and you don't quite spot her going into this alleyway or anything. You're pretty far behind, and the crowd along the streets is pretty thick. But when you finally get there, you see Garruk standing over Bianca's battered body, and about 2 seconds after you get in there, you see Gabriel stumble around the corner and look in, and that's when all the Harmony Guard run in. How much of that is there anything you don't want to share from your experience?
No, I will share it all, and further, I will produce, if possible, the pendant
Sure.
that you mentioned, and hand it over to Lantham.
Okay.
I hope that this will assist in your investigation.
Lantham once again just kind of looks shocked at what he hears, not really quite able to process what happens. He takes the pendant, gives it a look, and then
Hold on. So you touch it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it's kind of glowing red. And you look it over,
Yeah.
and roll a wisdom saving throw. So you kind of hold it up, and you just can't help yourself, but you just kind of tap the gemstone itself, and it just rockets. Just, you don't know, energy, power, something. It overwhelms your brain completely. You immediately stumble backwards and land on your back. The crystal drops from your hand and lands on the ground next to you. And it kind of snaps you out of it a little bit, but you just forget to breathe. You forget how to breathe, and then you. Oh my God! It's intense.
Yeah, Red, who was in the corner with the weapons, was going to go towards Garruk, but at the mention of Imrie having maybe used some kind of power, and then seeing Lantham fall back with this pendant in hand, he goes straight to Lantham. Are you all right? Oh, what is this? And he doesn't dare touch the necklace. Is it anything that he could recognize?
Well, do you have Arcana button? You don't, but go ahead, roll an Arcana check.
You never know. Maybe his uncle.
You
told
never
him
know.
something.
Yeah, exactly.
Nope.
probably not.
No,
Well, at least
he left
wasn't
that
listening.
out. Yeah, you've been around elven magic your whole life, but you're a fighter. You've never really shown
I
a
was
big
never
interest.
good at magic.
Yeah, and so it seems like clearly something happened there, but you don't really know how to process that kind of thing. Normally when you've seen magic, it's always been intentional by a skilled sorcerer or a elven bard or something. Seeing magic from just touching an object is literally, that never happens with high elves.
So he helps Lantha up. That's for sure.
As you're getting back up with the help of Red, you can't help but look over at Bianca's dead body, and you think back to, you're not even sure why, but you think back to every time one of your high elf superior officers ever ordered you to back down from an investigation, as they sort of blamed thievery on somebody and cut off his hands, or blamed a beating or a robbery from somebody else and gave them a good beating complete with broken bones. And you've witnessed a lot of really fucked up things in your life, and you don't know why. Like, you don't normally see yourself as hating the high elves or anything. You kind of recognize that the complexity of your civilization and how sort of fragile it is, and you do know how good the high elves have been for you, for humanity, for everything. But in this moment, and you're not even really sure why looking at her makes you think about this, but you just really fucking hate the elves for a second here.
Am I still grabbing onto the pendant?
No. It's on the floor.
So,
it's kind of on the floor
Lantham-
between you and Red.
So Lantham would stand up, and clearly look shaken. Take a couple deep breaths and look at Red, who's half elf, and see if he still feels that hatred.
No, not really. It kind of comes and it kind of passes.
He thinks back to what just happened. You said it was like he forgot how to breathe and just like his body shut down.
Yeah, like it was just an overwhelming shock to you.
Okay.
What happened, Lantham? This did not happen to me.
He looks down at the pendant and he looks up to Imrie. I'm not sure. Did you touch the crystal itself?
To my gambit, would I have done so?
You don't remember doing so intentionally. Did it bounce off you? You're not really sure, maybe.
I neither purposefully did so nor did I avoid it. I can't say for sure.
He massages the ridge of his nose, clearly still trying to work the cobwebs out of his brain. And you said the men who supposedly attacked you had what looked like elven weapons.
While you're talking, the death hands have kind of finished for now. They finished cleaning her, and they're kind of out of leather, so they're kind of fucking off. And
yes, the weapon reminded me most of a sort of a shorter, smaller elven volante of a sort. The make was similar to those weapons.
He looks at her again. Were they elves that attacked you?
If they were, I can't be sure. They might have been. There was some sort of... You recall there was a missing moment in time that I can't tell you what happened. I can only imagine that was magic. Also, everything standing still leads me to think that maybe magic was at play there as well.
He nods in agreement and rubs his chin and looks over to Red. Does this sound like anything you've ever heard of?
Well, he comes forward to Imrie, and he takes out his volante and says, "Look at the style. Tell me how describe the blade in more detail. Maybe I'll know what it is."
Well, stylistically it was similar, the carving, the elegance of it. But of course it was much smaller. Only this long or so. She gestures with her hands. The point was exceedingly sharp, almost impossibly so.
Gambit, would Red know something about that?
The only volantes you've ever seen would be ones very similar to yours. You may have seen of like the rare wood elf type, which a lot of wood elves use some that look like yours, but some use some more primitive kind that look a lot heavier and less elegant. But you've never seen one that looks like a dagger. Never seen one that
Okay.
small before.
So Red looks quite confused, and he turns to Lantham. He says, "It reminds me of nothing, Maestro. I'm of no help to you today."
Lantham just kind of looks bewildered and says more to himself than anybody else. And yet, clearly, elven magic and elven weapons were at play. He looks over to the two Harmony guards still there. You sure they haven't been able to converse and collaborate on their stories?
So far, the only helpful thing that has been said was by her when she said, "Nothing helpful can be done."
The two Harmony Guard look at that and look at each other and then look back at Lantham and say, the boss kind of kept him quiet. Didn't want him to, collaborate.
Imrie interrupts briefly and says, "Inspector, I wonder if I might ask a question.
Anything.
You mentioned she's having a hard time looking at Bianca. The deceased was a friend of mine, growing to be a friend anyway, and she was with child. I was to deliver the baby, but you mentioned some wounds around her stomach."
Yeah, you said you were a midwife. Maybe you should take a look.
If you wouldn't mind, I would like to do so.
Lantham would step back and
one real quickly though, Imrie will turn to Gabriel as well and say, "With your permission only."
Yes.
All right. She advances.
Garruk looks to Gabriel as he speaks his response, and then kind of looks to the body of Bianca and watches them intently.
Go ahead and roll a medicine check. Sorry, go ahead, Red.
Just going to say, while this is happening, he goes to the necklace on the ground, and with his volante just picks it up with the end of the volante.
Sure.
Just have a closer look at it.
You do so. It's you've seen gemstones and stuff. This one is you've seen gemstones cut by dwarven geomancers, and this doesn't look that precise. This looks like it's pretty flat, it's pretty small. It's a little irregularly shaped, but it does have like a pretty flat, like one side of it looks pretty flat and has a bit of like a sharp edge to it. This is all within like it's no bigger than like 2 centimeters long. It's pretty small. And it seems to kind of glow with its own sort of reddish hue.
Okay.
On her way by Red, Imrie will describe where they were in the market. Perhaps the bodies are still there, and they would have the weapons that I described, if they are still there.
Lantham would turn to one of the guards and say, "Go see if you can send a man up there to check."
He nods and says, I think everybody else left. Do you want me? I can go do it.
Sure. Be quick about it.
He nods and runs off.
Imrie says a brief prayer to Yenna for guidance on her examination of Bianca's body.
Gabriel spits on the ground when he hears that.
The prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay, you're using guidance, so
If I can, I don't know if
absolutely.
I'm that advanced enough to be able to channel that way.
You're not doing it. You're not intentionally channeling the spell exactly,
Indeed.
but
Right.
but you are unintentionally casting it, and you do feel, as you kind of say your prayer, this is weird for you too. You do feel a little bit more on point all of a sudden, and you feel like you're just much more in focus, and that feels almost tangible. It does not feel like, oh man, I just feel kind of inspired right now. It feels like something is affecting me, I can't. This is a new sensation, but I am not
Does
alone
Red
here.
notice this use of magic?
Not right now. Just because she's not. You notice the prayer and stuff, but there's no there's no light show or anything going on.
Okay.
Prepare to reconcile that awesome description with when I roll a 1 right now.
Perfect. Roll a medicine check.
Man after my own heart.
All right.
Okay, that's
Nice.
good. So you kind of unwrap her and you look at the stomach, and the stomach looks pretty fucking battered. At first glance, you would assume that a big sledgehammer probably did this. But on second glance, you notice kind of beneath all kind of the clean blood, or all the blood that's kind of been cleaned off, you kind of rub at it a little bit. There's some burnt flesh here. And you think back to what you did to those guards, and you realize this could be similar. That the guy that you took down he had that thing and he was casting spells. There could be something going on here.
I point out the burned area to Lantham as he's standing beside me, without necessarily calling direct attention to the parallel between, what I did to the guards,
Mm-hmm.
or to the assassins.
Lantham would squint and lean forward and nod in agreement. Oh, I see it now too. This is all very strange.
Is there a baby in there? That's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
guess.
That was gonna be my next question.
There's no wound big enough to have removed it.
Is she, distended?
Yes, yeah.
correct
There's a
way?
baby inside of her, not an alive one.
Right. I understand. This is all very unpleasant. I
First
apologize.
stream dead baby joke.
Right.
Gabriel's not particularly pleased by this line of conversation.
Oh, surely not.
Mhm.
Surely not.
He's gonna walk up to the table too.
And the Harmony Guard kind of steps to stop you, but then kind of
Lantham would wave him off.
As that whole encounter happens, Garruk kind of stands up too and puts himself between the guard and Gabriel as he walks by, and then kind of joins Gabriel.
As soon as he sees Garruk moving, Red follows, and he just says, "Stop right where you are. Don't come any closer."
Sorry, I'm trying to figure this out.
if you're using WASD, you move 5 feet, and there's no way to not do it. So if you want to move slightly, drag, and then if you hold Shift in WASD, you will change your direction but not move.
Yeah, he
Got
kind of says, "You haven't been cleared yet of the crime."
And the-
Garruk turns to Red.
Piss
Who's
off.
who's a lot taller than him.
I'm gonna roll an intimidation.
I'd like to also help if possible and just
Yeah.
say,
Sure.
you
What
do not
would I
speak
have
to the
to roll?
boy.
Is that with advantage?
Yeah, with advantage because you're being helped.
What would I roll?
Willpower save, I would think.
Wisdom.
Yeah, sorry, I apologize. I've got 3rd edition in the brain.
Willpower.
So saves are
So you'll just click on
click
wisdom,
on wisdom,
and then it'll
saving throw.
give you
Okay.
yep, perfect.
Okay, so
With the
you
two of
being
them
a
there,
lot taller than him.
yeah, with the two of them there, you remember this is your first day on the job. This is
It's like, fine, but just don't do anything stupid.
the other Harmony Guard steps up though and says, "Lantham, come on, what are we doing here? Who's lying? Who are we arresting?"
None of them are lying.
What?
I can tell that much. Something very, very strange has happened here.
The stories they're telling is insane.
And yet they do not contradict, and they had no time beforehand to come up with it.
Oh, come on. The boss is going to have our head for this.
There's clearly magic at work that we are not familiar with.
Red pipes up and says, "Yeah, and magic? Humans using magic? It's so
Well,
rare."
We don't even know if they were humans.
This what
Oh,
I'm...
you're sorry.
What? Oh, those guys.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about the attacker.
No, I'm human.
Yeah.
Gabriel, I have to ask a question.
Please
don't be too angry. I wonder if you've thought about whether this... I wonder with all the facts that have come out today, I wonder if you've thought if this baby was, perhaps not yours.
I know not, nor do I much care. As you can see, I clearly have children that are not my own. And we all follow Maelster's word.
Imrie nods her head. I'm glad you feel that way. It's a tragedy that the child is lost. And I'm sorry.
It's more of a tragedy that you're so incompetent that you can't quite find out who did this. Spits on the ground again.
If Yenna wills it, it will be done. Lantham, I will help you however I may.
I appreciate that. I feel like we're all kind of out of our depth here. I know everybody's still tense, but let's just all take a deep breath. Something very unfortunate and very strange has happened here. The key is the time that is missing from Garruk's memory. That's what we have to find out what happened.
He's already
I'm just
admitted
not sure how.
He's already admitted to having hurt her a bit.
And yet, look at his size and strength compared to hers. Do you really think she would even have fared half as well against him?
I assumed that she somehow fought those two men to the ground when we were attacked, but it can't be.
From how you described events, it seems like somehow they stopped everything for a moment and
Yes,
used that time to strike.
I have a missing moment in my memory as well.
This is beyond me. We need to find someone who's knowledgeable in such matters of magic.
Almost if on cue, a series of priests of Daestrus, death hands, walk in, and they kind of step in and say, "We are here to finish the body work. How will she be taken care of?"
To see and lit ablaze.
He nods and says, "Okay, then if you could clear the room, we will take her over." And take
Garruk
good
is
care of
gonna
her.
look at the group with kind of suspicion, and just kind of peer through them all.
You notice almost immediately none of them really look right. First of all, most Daestrus priests have dyed their robes black. But dye is really hard to come by, and black dye is like almost impossible to come by. These guys have dyed theirs very, very dark brown, but not quite. Also, Daestrus's death hands wear a necklace of skulls, and it's pretty fucking creepy, but they're little tiny skulls too, and God knows how they get them. But these guys have just little bones, like a bone necklace of like little I don't know, maybe finger bones or something dangling from their necks. And all of them look way less well fed than you would expect a priest of Daestris to be fed, because usually the priests are among the most well fed in the entire city. And then, as you peer to the very last guy back there, you notice that sure enough, he looks exactly, and you only know this because of a 20, but he looks exactly like the guy making out with Bianca.
I don't know where you got the 20 from, but I didn't get a chance to roll. Did you intend
Fuck. Lantham, you rolled the private shit. I read it wrong.
Oh.
My bad.
Yeah, sorry.
My bad. Well, we'll take it anyway. There you go.
Rule of cool.
Rule of cool. Damn it.
Garruk is going to immediately rush to his weapon, and he's going to scream,
It's him! He's here!
Gabriel's gonna follow Garruk.
assuming I'm unimpeded by Red or anybody.
I think he's still a little intimidated by you.
Imrie would like to dive over the beer and seek cover on the other side.
Sure. Just keep in mind, Imrie, you're the same as the other two. Your weapons are on the far end over there.
So, is Lantham armed with his club?
Yep.
Okay. Obviously he's gonna be caught pretty flat-footed here, though. So he's just kind of gonna jolt in surprise and try to turn around and find out what's going on.
Red already had his Volante out.
Okay. Garruk and Gabriel, are you guys moving to attack, or like should I be entering combat mode right now, or?
Go ahead, Gabriel.
Oh. I'm gonna say nobody leaves this room. But then I'm just gonna grab my weapons and then.
Let me say one thing, because your answer does matter here. Just in terms of the way that I DM, because I realized the way I worded it might have sounded like I'm prompting you to talk. I'm not. If you say let's talk, and they're down to talk, then you'll talk. If you say let's talk and they attack, they get the first move. So I'm giving you the first move if you want to take it.
So I don't know if this is my time to chime in, but
Yeah.
Garruk would have, as fast as possible, picked up his maul and just immediately gone into a rage and started swinging at the group in a sideways fashion to try and prevent them from getting a leg up on anybody in this room. And it's just following barbaric instinct.
Perfect.
Sounds about right.
All right, then Gabriel's in it.
Okay. I'll give Gabriel and Garruk a first move then, and then we'll go into combat mode.
Okay. Upon grabbing his maul, Garruk is going to attempt to. He doesn't really. I'm imagining this is happening very, very quickly.
Yes.
He doesn't really have time to pick a target. As he enters his rage, give me 1 second. Let me activate this.
Sure. If you drag it down to the hotbar too, it will not only keep track of how many you have, but it'll also you can just click it and.
Oh, that's
it'll
badass.
just go.
Okay.
Yeah.
He is going to make a maul attack at the. Hold on, let me see if it works. Did you see my target? The left guy up above the guy that I recognized.
Just double right click on them and you'll target it automatically. Yeah, and then it'll.
Okay, you see that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
That is a hit.
Okay.
Okay. You immediately hit him, and you hit him just across the head. You hit him so hard he stumbles into the guy. It doesn't even stumble. He gets thrown into the cultist in front of him. He stumbles. I'm going to give him a dexterity saving throw. He passes it. So he basically hits Lantham, but like keeps himself on his feet. This guy just gets flattened. He's knocked prone, but he's still alive. But you completely stunned him. He's bleeding hard out of the side of the head. He's incredibly hurt. His left eye is completely covered in blood that's just pooling immediately down his head from, a scalp wound, basically. All right, next.
Gabriel's gonna give him the old one too, and hit the downed guy.
Oh God. Okay.
God.
Gallagher, anybody?
So I'd roll with advantage, right?
Yeah, he's prone. Yeah.
Prone, yeah.
That's a good one.
All right. And then I don't know. I know that we're playing with different rules for knocking unconscious and stuff like that, but I know that in like Raw, it's you can like specify it's non-lethal damage. I don't know if you want to do
sure.
do I get that the rules are different, so I'm fine not playing with that. But if we are,
I would say with your considering the position he's in and the fact that he's got 1 hit point left, and you're gonna swing a big dwarven warhammer at him, I'll give you a. I'll roll a d20, and if it rolls higher than a 12, I'll let it be. Yeah.
alrighty. Oh, just for
Okay, that's 4 damage.
posterity.
Go ahead, roll a d20, just a straight d20, and if it's a 13 or higher, we'll say that it's non-lethal. Okay,
Hey.
it's non-lethal, so he is knocked unconscious, but not dead. Yeah, knocked the fuck out. All right, now we're gonna go into combat mode. Let's see.
I'm sorry, but that unconscious icon looks entirely too comical for what just happened.
Yeah, I agree. I need someone to make a mod for me so that I can have an easy access knocked prone token, because with Hero Forge I can do that. So I would, because I could do it in the same way that I have like the Bianca token.
Wait, did all of our tokens just take combat poses?
They
That's awesome.
fucking did, dude. This is the best.
That's so
That's
awesome.
so cool.
It's also a lot of work to make all of these. Like I have to make like 3 tokens for every
Oh, you have to
character.
make poses for each of them?
Yeah. But it's worth it. It's totally worth it. I love it.
Yeah, you're nailing it, man.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna roll. I have a button. I just push it once, and it rolls for everybody. So it just seems like the easy way to go about it. All right.
God damn it.
Yeah, that's a lot of dice. All right, Imrie, you rolled a 21. What do you want to do?
So left clicking and dragging is not moving my token. I don't know why. Never mind. Forget that.
Oh.
I'm wrong. How do you put the waypoint in? Sorry.
Spacebar.
Okay. Imrie moves to retrieve her stuff, and I assume spends the rest of the round doing that.
So you can. How far did you move? What was that?
I moved about 14 feet.
Yeah.
Total.
Yeah, you could do that. Pick it up as a bonus action. You still get the rest of your move, and you can attack. Sure.
Okay. All right. I will wind a sling stone. Wind a stone into my sling, whip it around a few times, and let fly. Let's say at. I'm having a hard time determining who's dead and who's not.
Oh, one quick thing. So this is, I don't know if this is a house rule exactly. This is just kind of the way I want to do it. So I really like not using the grid. I feel like that's really cool. But the compromise I want to make for not using the grid and having all of that extra motion is the tokens, the actual image of the player doesn't take up the full 5 feet. So I know in normal D&D you can move right through other people. Let's not do that in this game. You can move. You don't have to move 5 feet around them, but just move in a way so that you're going to miss the image, the actual image of their token if you want to move around them, if that makes sense.
Right.
So for you, like, this cultist might be like the one to go after, but not necessarily like going through these guys like here or over there.
That I think you just pointed toward Lantham.
there's a cultist
This is
underneath.
two
Oh,
different
there's a
people.
cultist
Yeah,
right by you.
sorry. Yeah, let me.
Okay, well, all
Sorry,
right.
it's when I change the images. I can spread
Gotcha.
them out
That's
just
fine.
slightly.
Okay, that's fine. I'll shoot the sling stone at him.
Okay. You can shoot definitely through in between people. That's totally fine though.
Yep, that's a miss.
That is a miss. Yeah, maybe it's because some of this is kind of going on simultaneously, right? So maybe it's
Sure.
Garruk moving around and stuff that just kind of throws your aim off or something. You fling it. It basically bounces off the stone bed, I guess, that Bianca's laying on, and just kind of and falls harmlessly. Okay. It's Harmony Guard's turn. He's not really sure what's going on, but he sees all of the cultists kind of coming in, pulling out these obsidian daggers, and he sees one of them. Although he was shoved into Lantham, he knows it's time to rock and roll in the Stone Age. And he I'm sorry. And he
That was amazing.
he runs up and attempts to basically hit this guy in the back of the head with his club.
Are we doing like facing rules for combat and stuff like that?
Oh God.
Do you guys like that? Do you want to do facing rules for that?
I have no idea what that is, but
We did an overall all the time. Basically, if somebody's facing in a certain way and you move behind them, it would give you advantage. The only thing with that is we have to recognize, like, you can't do bullshit like they're facing you and then you like move 15 feet to get around behind them, and then like they can move with you with that stuff. I don't mind doing something like that though.
yeah, that's
We can
fine.
try it out, and if it sucks,
Yeah.
then yeah.
Yeah. And are
cool.
you doing flanking as well?
Yes, we are definitely doing flanking. Yeah.
Copy.
Okay. The Harmony Guard botches. Maybe there's just a little bit too much dust in here or something. He slips, falls into the guy, and basically he hits his club hard on the ground, and the club splits in half, and the guy is now disarmed. He's got about,
Jeez.
yeah, Stone Age rules, man. All right, and he loses his turn. Gabriel.
All right, Gabriel's now in like a full-on rage, or the paladin equivalent.
Sure.
and is just going to take a swing at this the fella that he's targeting right below.
Mm-hmm.
11.
That misses. Yeah. So you're like you feel free to drag your tokens to get a little bit closer. So
Oh,
it
for
just looks
sure.
like that's totally fine. Yeah, you swing at this guy. As you get closer to him, roll a perception check.
Can do. Also, just for public record, as he swings, it sounds like the like rushing of waves. Even if as he misses, it sounds like a wave crashed ashore.
Nice. Yeah. You swing, you miss, you don't notice anything.
I'm in the middle of stuff.
Yeah, you got a lot to deal
It's
with.
been a
It's
weird
kind of
day.
dark in
Yeah.
here, it's the there's only one window. It's this one over here on the far end, and then you got the brazier in the far corner. It's dark, you can't see anything.
All
It's
good.
fine.
All good.
All right. This next guy, since he's prone, I'm gonna let him step on top of him, and he's gonna go after Gabriel. He goes at him with the obsidian dagger, which is a +1 weapon. Oh snap! That one hits. Okay. Okay, Gabriel. He lunges at you with this dagger, and he actually gets you good right in your like the left side of your ribs. You feel it go in, you feel it come out. It's a good scratch. It gets kind of like between a couple slats of your armor and digs in. You're gonna need, at the very least, you don't know how bad it is yet, but at the very least, you know you're gonna need like stitches or something. Okay. It's this guy's turn, and now Gabriel, as you have the briefest of seconds, you would probably know at this point. This is the guy that you felt those weird feelings coming out of the alley from. He too has a dagger and is coming at you with it. That is a hit, and he's gonna roll damage. Man, that's a good hit too. Ooh. Okay.
R.I.P. Daddy.
He comes in, he stabs you right in the chest. You feel it go right into, like, right between your armor. This is a very tough weapon, and I'm pretty sure this is gonna knock you out. Yep. You get... Oh, I'm surprised it doesn't. Yeah. You get down. Let me put you prone at least. You feel the knife go in, and immediately it's just overwhelming, and you just feel it go. You just feel the lights getting dim, and you collapse to the ground. This next guy, he's... Oh, no, he can actually go after this Harmony Guard. He goes after this guy down here. Actually, where's our combat music? Yeah. He misses, though. He misses. He basically goes in and slashes down at the guard, and the guy, I think he's on his stomach. Or no, he is. Yeah. He just quickly rolls out of the way. Okay, the music might be a little bit loud. There we go.
It's intense.
It's intense. Next guy, he comes around at he's got room. He comes around at the side and attacks Lantham there. That's a miss. He goes in, and Lantham, you just kind of
wait. I got a question.
Please.
Since this other cultist is like right up on my grill, can I like bodily grab him and shove him in the way of the knife? I'll even use the inspiration for that.
Use the inspiration for it. All right,
yeah.
Do it. Fuck yeah, let's go for it.
So how do I do that?
Just roll like a athletics check, and we'll just call it a grapple.
How do I use it? Make sure I use the inspiration.
I already used it for you. You're good. So just roll
advantage, normal.
Yeah, you use advantage. That's fine. We'll call this your reaction for the turn. That's pretty good. Yeah. We're gonna say that works. And
oh,
that what?
I rolled a 22. It was private.
Oh
private,
yeah, take it. Do you know how to take it off private?
I just did.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. He rolled a 22. Sorry, chat. I'm seeing it on my DM screen, so I'm unaware of the fact that nobody else is seeing it. Okay. Yeah. You throw him in front of the blade. It goes
as he gets stabbed.
Yeah. He and sure enough, he gets stabbed square in the back. He kind of looks back behind the guy. The other guy's shocked. The one thing you're noticing, all of you who have any combat experience whatsoever, these guys don't seem the most well-trained, even though they have pretty nice weapons. They don't seem, it's not like they're like crazy kung fu artists or anything. They're just kind of brutally lunging.
They're pretty tough, right? You know,
They're not, they're no slouches, but I mean, well, you got taken out by the main guy, so that's different. He doesn't know what he's doing. No shame. That guy's done. Let me remove him. All right, Garruk, your turn.
Upon the moment that Gabriel kind of gets sliced and diced and falls to the ground, Garruk just loses all sense, and he rushes to the. Sorry, I'm trying to select this one. They're like kind of stacked on top of each other. Okay, I think I have him right. He rushes to the one standing on top of the unconscious cultist, and he is going to make the attack with his maul. Hell yeah, baby.
Gallagher time again.
Snap. Okay.
So does this automatically add my extra damage for Savage Attacker?
Roll and you tell me. I'm not 100% sure.
Looks like it.
That was I think that was your critical dice too, right?
Yeah, so that was critical. When for Savage Attacker, I think it's when you get a critical, you roll run extra dice. So I would have rolled 2, and then I think I would have rolled 2 more, right? Or either way, I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Yeah.
How Savage Attacker works is that when you roll damage for a weapon attack, you can re-roll the weapon's damage die and use either total.
Gotcha.
I think that's defeat.
Maybe
In any event,
Yeah.
you
Either way.
fucking smash this guy into paste, and
Can I?
yeah.
I was gonna say I make a full-on attack. I just lift my maul in the air and bring it down on his face, and just want to basically just turn his brains into pulp.
Yeah, he's thinking he's gonna convert from Daestrus to the fucking faceless men in Game of Thrones because he has no face now. Yeah, he's dead. And we'll just send him over there. Send him flying over there. Okay.
And then I'm gonna use the rest of my movement to engage the other cultist here. This one.
This guy?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. This is the guy that you caught smooching with your mom. Which is what I was hinting at towards Gabriel, but he kept failing his check. Or failed it once, I guess.
Move my character.
Oh, no? Here. Does that help?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, cool. All right, Red.
All right, I'm going to be targeting the one just next to Lantham.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Who I still have a grip on, by the way.
I'll say, I'll finish him off.
I love that. Nice.
So, I need to know if he's got, what kind of armor he's got.
So he's wearing like leather robes, so they're helping him a little bit, but it's not, you don't have to worry about, like, it's not heavy armor, I think.
Okay, I'm not sure how I'm gonna. For the Volante, I've got to choose.
Yes, it's light, so let me double check that. I think you can use the regular, but just attack for now, and I'll
just attack.
Yeah,
okay.
and once we know if you hit or not. Yeah, that's a hit. You want to roll your versatile damage. Nice. Okay. Yeah. So you kind of overhead swing. You slam him right in the throat. You can feel your thorns digging into his neck, and you rip it out, and pretty much rip his throat out with it. That was a good
It's spraying all over Lantham.
Yeah, it's
Probably
suddenly
looks horrified.
a lot. This might be the first time a lot of you've seen the Volante in action, and this guy is completely dead. Blood's basically on the three of you. Third one being the mother, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's no good. All
I
right,
just
Red.
read, sorry, Lantham, for the blood.
All right. Next is the dead guy. He doesn't get a turn. All right, Lantham, you're up.
So, I want to ask a question.
Sure.
Presumably, I've had a good grip on this guy the whole time, which is how I was able to move him in position.
Mhm.
Do I still have a good grip on him now?
Yeah, you rolled so well. Sure.
So like as he's dying, I want to throw him bodily back into the guy behind him.
Okay.
And if I could, I don't know if this is possible in these rules, but then also go after that guy. I don't know if that's 2 attacks or whatnot.
That's 2 attacks, I would say.
Okay.
But if you, I'll tell you
And
what.
I do still want to throw him bodily.
Yeah,
to get the other guy away
roll
from
a
me.
15 or higher, I'll allow it.
Okay, what am I rolling? Another athletics?
Yeah, sure. Okay, that counts. That counts, sure.
Okay.
You throw him into this guy. It doesn't do any damage, but it knocks. I'm gonna give the other guy a dexterity saving throw. He fails it. Yeah. You throw the dead guy into the still alive guy, who goes stumbling over the downed Harmony Guard, trips over him, lands hard on his back, and now he's prone.
Exactly as planned.
Okay, now you can move into position and attack.
And now Lantham would go in and beat this guy with his club.
Nice.
Just a simple overhand swing, but as he does so, he shouts, "Don't kill all of them." Damn it. How do I open my character sheet again?
Double click your token. Yeah, double left click.
There we
Double
go.
right click.
To open your... Wait, sorry. I thought you meant to open his character sheet. My fault.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. Good. Sorry.
Figured it out.
It's all good. Okay, that is a hit. Go ahead and roll damage. Did you do it wrong?
I said I rolled attack.
Yeah, it did, but I don't see the option to roll damage from the club. Whatever, it's fine. It's like here, let's
It's
just
not letting me roll damage, yeah.
when I do it, it works fine. Do you want me to just roll damage for you, or you?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I can't. Fuck. Okay. Let's see here. We're not gonna count this.
Okay.
And then there's the damage.
Okay.
Cool. 7. Yeah. We'll have to look into that later. I don't know why the hell that didn't work.
I think I did it wrong.
Oh, okay. Well, that works too. Yeah. You basically run up to him, hit him hard in the face with the club. He stumbles backward. He's not dead or downed or anything, but he's bloodied. You basically took some teeth out. He spits on the floor, grabs a hold of his face a little bit. He still clenches onto that dagger tight. And Imrie.
Gabe, is it okay if like I do something, like say something in character during another player's turn, or is that?
Yeah, as long as it's like short, like don't have a conversation during combat. But if you just want to say something short, yeah, absolutely.
In the heat of combat, Garruk kind of just looks back at Imrie and just says,
Help him.
And Nightwind, I don't know if you saw it, but I posted a response in the room to what you said. I gave him back to you, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we'll chalk that up to a combination of increased adrenaline again, and
it was more because I made you do it before, so it was a little less fair.
I understand. I get it.
Cool.
Imrie will move forward, kneel down next to Gabriel, and calling on Yenna to restore his health, and lamenting that she could not save his wife, but she wishes to save him. She places her hands on him and tries to channel Yenna's peace into him.
Sure.
Let's see here. So want the old.
Okay. Certainly not
believe
the
that-
best, but he
It's not the best, but
he's not dead anymore.
4 is better than 0.
That's right.
Sorry,
Sorry,
as Gabriel comes to, he spits out water.
Nice. Imrie, you're starting to feel more confident as you're doing this. You're feeling, you can feel the love of Yenna. She's with you. You can't, it's not like you're hearing her speak to you or anything, but there's this calmness.
I feel the confidence.
Yeah, you can feel her working through you, and you feel like you can direct her power where you want it to go. Basically, is what's going on.
Gotcha.
That's kind of how you're casting your magic.
Very good.
All right.
I will once that's done, I guess. This who's up in the fight? Like, where are the? It's hard to tell who's down and who's not. So I guess.
Yeah, basically, if they have an icon on them right now, they're down. Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Harmony Guard gets up and basically he's just gonna wail on this guy that got knocked over, and he doesn't have a club anymore, so he's just gonna kick him basically as hard as he can.
You should have an additional 3 hit points as well, Gabriel. Sorry, forgot about my Disciple of
Oh,
Life feat.
yeah, here, I'll do that for him. Cool, that almost gets him to full. Okay, he kicks, and the guy, the cultist on the ground, he just kind of tenses up and takes it on the arms, and it doesn't really seem like it's doing much to him. Harmony Guard guy seems pretty useless this fight. All right, Gabriel, your turn. You're still prone, so I think you have to use like half your speed to get up, but you can get up. If you're talking, Gabriel, you're still muted.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I was. I'm going to use the hammer to kind of prop myself up, stand up, and then grab it. Now no longer used as a cane or like as a method of standing up, and just swing it at the guy in front of me.
Nice.
And I'm going to roll.
You hit him?
Yep. Do you mind if we also try take this one alive thing?
You certainly can try. Yeah, sure.
All right, I'll roll for damage first to see if I take him down.
Okay. Don't worry about anything else for now, because you hit him, and you see him kind of stumble back a little bit, but when your hammer impacts him, you know it's not the best hit you've ever had in your life, but the way he kind of rolls with the blow and does a little spin to go with it, this guy's good, and you know he took way, you know, that maybe that was actually like a 10 damage blow, but the way he's moving, this guy's got some skill.
Gotcha.
Okay. Let's see here. This guy's down. He's gonna go after Garruk. That is not good. This is good for you.
What are you talking about? It's good for us.
Am I?
Fantastic.
I'm not able to do anything in that natural one, am I?
Well, he's already gonna lose his dagger.
Okay, that was my intention.
Yeah. So, he swings up at your face, and you just slap the knife right out of his hands. It basically hits. it basically crashes on the floor right there, and it shatters instantly into 1,000 pieces. And he was actually able to get a second attack, but with that one, I'm gonna say he doesn't get it. And we'll just move on to the next guy. All right. This guy goes after Lantham. He charges in with his dagger, just trying to kill you. He stabs it basically right at your chest, I guess. That is a hit.
Damn.
That is a hit. Not for much
Awesome.
damage, though. He does get you in the chest, but you kind of wiggle away. You kind of take it a little bit on the pauldron. Finally, the elven uniform is good for something, and it turns that what could have been a pretty deadly blow from an obsidian dagger into just kind of a nothing. It just kind of scratches you, draws a little blood, but you feel okay. All right. This guy, yeah, he gets up and he goes after the Harmony Guard. These guys are useless.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum over here.
Yeah, the Harmony Guard can't hurt him for anything. Can't land one hit on him. He can't do the same, and they're just swimming. They're basically in a slap fight with each other right now, and nothing's really landing. Nothing's doing damage. Next, Garruk, your turn.
Okay. Is targeted attacks like a thing in 5e, or is that like a arcana? But like not really.
I don't know if it's allowed or not, but you are more than encouraged to describe where you're trying to attack. And
Got it. Because I
depending
know
on
that there's like a mechanic. I just don't know how it works.
It's not a mechanic in 5e.
yeah, I don't think it is.
Oh, got
but
it.
if
Okay.
if you describe where you're attacking, the way I am doing combat in this campaign is describe your attacks, because I'm going to take that into account when I look at your roll, look at the damage, and I think about how that's going to affect them. I don't really do you landed the hit, okay, now it's his turn, and back and forth. Like when you hit, even if it's against the rules a little bit, I'm going to be moving these tokens around, slamming them off of things, moving and I'm going to do the same to you guys, so it's fairly equal, but I feel they'll just give things a little bit more of a dynamic kind of edge to it.
That's awesome.
Much more interesting that way. Yeah.
So then in that case, Garruk, continuing his blind rage, he's going to try and do a sweeping attack at the man's legs and try and knock him prone now that he's disarmed.
Nice. It's not going to do it, though.
Dang.
You swing, and he actually jumps over it, and it's surprising to you because... he doesn't have to jump very high. He jumps like 2.5 feet in the air, but he does it so quickly that it's just kind of impressive.
All right, then that ends my turn.
All right. Red.
Okay, Red is gonna try and he's gonna climb up on the table and try and aim a jump onto this one. And not just with his feet, to kick him, because Lantham wants him alive. And of course he'll shout something at the same time. So he's going to talk to the Harmony Guard and tell him to duck.
Nice.
So I don't know how up, and he's going to aim for here. What do you want me to
roll a acrobatics check.
Crap, where's acrobatics? It's here.
Nice.
Yeah. The useless ass Harmony Guard either doesn't hear you or doesn't know you're talking to him, or he's not paying attention. He doesn't duck at all, but you notice for this, you adjust to it. You basically jump over his head. In fact, with that 23, you do like a front flip, land in
Hell yeah.
between the two of them, knock this guy backward a little
Hell
bit,
yeah.
and yeah, go ahead, take your attack.
What attack would that be with? It's not with the Volante. It's
Oh.
just, it was a kick.
Yeah, let me, I forgot to
Because
give
he
you
doesn't want to
unarmed.
kill him.
No, you're good. I forgot to give you the unarmed strike, but that is in your character sheet now. It's equipped, so feel free.
Yeah, sure. Crap, why can't I do that?
You might have to reopen your
There we go.
character sheet. I'm gonna make sure I've added it to all of
Attack.
you.
Do I do attack or damage? Attack?
Attack, yeah. Yeah, the other thing was just flavor.
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Well, you still separate them, which they probably needed. They need to go like have a milkshake or something because they're not here for this fight.
Hey, you want to go get a beer after this?
but
But
you're
I had to
Juniors.
adjust for the fact that he didn't duck. Okay. I
yeah,
can't do
exactly,
everything.
exactly. But he's knocked back a little bit, but you don't do any damage. Okay, is that it for your turn?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, Lantham, your turn.
So Lantham would take a hard step in towards the man attacking him as part of the windup for his next attack to try to break him off balance, and then let loose with another overhand strike with his club.
Nice. That hits.
Oh, okay, so I figured out what I did wrong last time. I got to do standard roll instead of attack roll, and then I can do both in a row. Got it.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. So you hit him, and yeah. Describe. You kill him. Describe it.
Oh, shit! I didn't realize I killed him.
Wait. What?
I mean,
How'd you hit him? You hit him with a club, right? Yeah.
Yeah, with a club. So Lantham would take him on his just left collarbone, and you just hear this sickening crunch, and the guy would probably just crumple from the pain.
Down. Yeah. He crumples. His dagger hits the ground. It breaks, and actually it doesn't break. This one. Does it break? Let's find out. It does not break. It's good. But he's dead. He's down. All right. Imrie.
All right, channeling what really ought to be her last magic of the day. Imrie flashes back to the courtyard where Bianca was senselessly attacked, and she found the power to channel the magical bolts, and she focuses her intent on this guy here who's caused so much trouble
Gotcha.
for everyone throughout the day. I will move over towards the wall
Perfect.
so I get a clean line of sight and cast Guiding Bolt.
That is a hit. Oh, snap.
Damn, son, where'd you get that?
I knew I could do it.
These flashes of light streak out, slam into him. His like leather robes immediately start singeing and burning, and it's clear that it's putting holes in them, and you can smell even now the flesh just searing. He stumbles backward, and just kind of screams out in pain. Your attack did double damage to him.
Hey, look at that. Also note that the next attack against him has advantage.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay. So he's As you're watching this, you're noticing, I guess probably all three of you, the three of you engage with him. He's a little bit on fire, like his flesh is. All right. Useless Harmony Guard's turn. He's just gonna let Red take this one. He goes around looking for a weapon. He finds one here. He picks it up. He grabs the obsidian dagger, and he's like, "Hell yeah, upgrade!" And he goes at this guy here. I just realized he's gonna waste that advantage, isn't he? You know what? He deserves a win. I think he deserves a win.
Let's give it to him.
Let's give it to him.
He needs the advantage. Think of it that.
He takes this obsidian dagger, runs at this guy, and just tries to plunge it directly into his heart.
Oh boy.
No way.
Guiding bolt for the win.
Kidding me?
You can't make this up.
Dude, you weren't meant to kill him.
That's great.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, that's a good amount of damage. He plunges this obsidian dagger directly into this guy's heart, and the guy, his eyes go wide, blood spills out, and he collapses to the ground. And as he does so, one second, I want to make sure I do this right. For the briefest of moments, none of you can not see this. The sunlight in the room suddenly goes out, and directly above that guy that just got taken out by Harmony Guard number 3, a wisp of smoke erupts, maybe from the fire in his chest, maybe not, but it erupts, and you immediately see this smoky shape of, you're not even sure what, but it basically erupts from him, and then immediately flies out the side of the room until it goes right through the wall, and it's gone.
Well, shit.
Gabriel, your turn.
All right. Well, Gabriel's gonna he like clocks that, and then he'll move up. Oh, sorry.
You stole my kill, Harmony Guard. I'm coming after you.
Hey, he's pissed. All right. I'll roll the hit.
That is a hit.
19.
That'll do it. Yeah, you hit him for a good amount of damage.
I'm just gonna go like sweeping, kind of almost like a hip area, like trying to hit as center mass as possible, but still like hopefully not deadly. But
you
also at this point not caring.
Yeah, you pretty much break his hip. He goes flying to the side and collapse in a heap. He's probably not alive. You still have that one guy, but yeah, he's dead. You immediately, things start to calm down. They start to chill. You all can take a breath finally, and you kind of look at each other and what the hell just transpired here. None of you have, I mean, this is completely new for all of you. None of you have ever experienced anything like this before.
Yeah.
Garruk, his chest is heaving, and his face is covered in like a sticky sweat. I'm sure he's been spattered with some blood and brain matter. And he kind of drops his maul and he steps over the corpse at his feet rather, and shoves the Harmony Guard out of the way, and then kind of grabs the dead corpse of the man he saw kissing Bianca, and kind of shakes him, and just kind of says, to himself mostly,
Wake up, you bastard. I'm not done with you.
You shake him, and his head's just kind of rolling around. There's a big, he's no longer on fire, but his chest looks, if he were a steak, he'd be well seared. He looks just blackened, and then he's got this big hole in it right over his heart. He's dead, and he's not coming back.
Obviously, blinded by the remainder of his rage, Garruk just continues to just smack this man up and down against the floor until finally his blood seems to cool as he kind of realizes it's hopeless, and he just kind of stands there. He stands up and peers over the body, and just kind of his chest heaving.
Gabriel's gonna limp over, still bleeding, and put a hand on his shoulder. It's over.
It's not over.
Red looks kind of worried. Looks over at Lantha. What just happened? Were they not death hands? Why did they attack us?
Surely not. You saw how thin they were.
And their uniforms are all wrong, and what kind of death hand brings obsidian daggers into its own temple?
Is one still alive?
Yes, this one. Imrie moves to him and starts to assess his wounds as to whether or not they're going to be fatal, and will make an attempt to stabilize him. I don't have a healer's kit, though, so that's kind of unfortunate. But
Red and Lantham, roll a perception check.
Perception?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not good at perception.
No, you guys are not. Okay, yeah, no problem. So the last cultist, the one who still seems breathing, he's fucked up. You're probably not waking him up. Probably not this session. But he is alive. And you
Kind of prop him up against a wall somewhere.
Yeah, you'll be able to talk to him next time.
All right. Can we glean any information from the other ones?
Yeah. So you kind of look. Who wants to kind of? All right. Each of you roll an investigation check if you're checking out bodies and all that stuff.
So I feel like in this situation, this is where Lantham would take charge again and start kind of directing people to help him out.
Sure. And
be more efficient. So everybody else maybe gets advantage or something.
Well, if anyone doesn't want to roll, I'll give Lantham advantage on his roll.
Oh, sorry, I already rolled.
That's fine. I mean, you rolled well.
I don't. I am not an investigator.
Okay, then Imrie
can
back up Lantham, and Lantham, you can take advantage for that, and then whoever other than Imrie didn't roll can roll. If they're investigating, if they're not, that's fine too. Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh.
That's a good
one.
There you go. Okay, and then
investigator at work.
Garruk, are you gonna roll, or are you not too concerned about investigating?
Garruk is just coming down off of his blood rage.
Gotcha.
And just kind of standing there, coming back into the moment. So he's kind of out bewildered at this moment.
Mm-hmm. So Gabriel, you snatch up 3 obsidian daggers, and obsidian daggers are not exactly rare, but they're worth a decent amount, and they're very sharp. They're also very fragile, so they break a lot easier than normal. But you kind of look them over. They don't really seem out of the ordinary to you. They're just kind of wrapped in a kind of leather cord around the hilt to give something to hold on to, and otherwise they just seem kind of standard to you. Still good. Just that's about it though. And as you kind of look over the bodies, anyone who is looking over the bodies, none of you really notice anything particularly interesting about them. It does feel like they're all kind of a mishmash of outfits. Like they really just grabbed whatever they had, dyed it as dark. You know, it looks like they have some leather blankets, some furs that they're kind of wearing inside out. They've made very imprecise tears at various seams and stuff. They just barely... Basically, they were banking on nobody looking too closely at them. And that's how they were doing their disguise. Now, Lantham, as you're kind of going over everything, you notice on the floor, like right here,
Okay.
there's some black blood on the floor.
Lantham would kneel down to inspect it more closely.
And you glance up at Garruk, and he doesn't seem to be hurt. He's not bleeding anywhere.
He'd take some of it between his fingers and give it a little sniff.
It smells pretty foul. It's hard to describe. It's not like shit or anything. But it's like corruption. It's like really, really old meat mixed with I don't know, fire burning flesh or something. It's pretty gross.
Yeah. Lantham would approach Garruk and ask him, "Does orc blood smell like this?"
Garruk, just now coming back to his senses, he shakes his head and he kind of turns around, and he would maybe a little bit brashly, but as gentle as he probably could, take Lantham's hand and bring it up to his nose and take a sniff.
Doesn't smell like orc blood to me. Grab some of that obsidian. I'll give you some of mine.
No, that's not necessary. Step aside, please. I want to look at that man's body.
Very well.
Garruk takes a step aside to Gabriel, and kind of he puts his hand on his shoulder and inspects him a little bit. And
are you okay, Father?
I'm hurt, boy. They got me bad.
You'll live. Mace will protect you.
Sure as the tides.
Sure as the tides.
Lantham would approach the body of the man that weird smoke thing came out of.
Sure.
And just try to get a closer look. Just try to find anything that could possibly explain what the heck just happened.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Red would go to where the shadow went through the wall, just to see if there's anything as well.
Yeah, roll.
Imrie continues to tend to the wounded man and mutters something under her breath about it being Yenna's grace that saved, Gabriel, and not, she's just muttering under her breath.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me. So Imrie, you're tending to him. You're confident. He's alive.
Just want to make sure he'll make it. Yeah.
He 100% will. Yeah. Red. Where you go to the wall, look at give me what's your best check here? Roll.
Acrobatics?
Maybe not that. Roll insight with advantage.
Ooh.
So
Hell yeah.
you spot a little something on the wall. You kind of touch it, and at first you thought it would be gooey, but it kind of comes off onto your fingers almost ash-like.
I like soot.
Yeah, a little bit, but as you kind of rub it into your fingers, it's there is like a stickiness. It's not like completely. It's weird. It like when it's touching itself, it is kind of like soot, but as you're rubbing it into your fingers, it is kind of sticky. It's kind of gooey, and you're not. It's also even though the thing that you saw was like just a shadow, this is a little bit bluish, and you're not really sure what to make of that.
Bluish. Okay, well, I do kind of tell everyone, be like, does anyone know what this is? Like, maybe come over to them and show them what I have on my hand.
Sure. And while they discuss, none of you have ever. Everything today is new to all of you, basically.
Yeah.
Lantham, you go over to this guy, and he's pretty bare with in terms of belongings and stuff. But you notice he doesn't have his obsidian dagger that you clearly saw him fighting with. And his clothing is pretty much tatters like everybody else's, essentially. Beneath it, he is wearing...
So he doesn't look like noble or anything? He doesn't look like he's a merchant or what?
He's pretty thin. Can you see when you hover your mouse over him? Do you see?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He looks like that.
Okay.
So he's pretty thin. He's his bone structure is pretty gaunt. It doesn't really look like he's taken very good care of himself. His his fingernails are like very dirty, which frankly for Stone Age people is not too uncommon. But
Yeah.
his teeth are pretty yellow and rotted and yeah.
Is there anything strange about his wounds or the blood?
No, it all looks about right. You saw kind of the radiant ray of light that Imrie shot at him. You couldn't take too close of a look, but it looked like she hit him center mass, and center mass is incredibly roasted. You really don't know what the hell to make of that, but you're also not like super skilled with magic or anything, so
Yep.
It's hard to say if that's normal or not.
So Lantham would step up, take a step back, and sigh. What a mess.
So as you all kind of look upon what's happened today, you start to, whether you're discussing this or not, you each probably start to realize, holy shit, nobody's going to believe a word of this.
Yep.
And this is probably where we should call it, but I think that your experiences will bring you into the next session knowing that you might be hanging out with each other again.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe quickly retreating away from the city, in fact.
And we'll end it here unless anyone has anything that they wanted to get out.
Just the
character.
last thing, because I think I'll forget for the next session.
Sure.
Outside, the light went out. Would it be because of mid shadow or high shadow?
I apologize for that. It came back as soon as the I didn't reactivate that, but it did come back as soon as the thing left the room.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, my fault. I totally.
That's spooky.
I botched that. Yeah.
It sucked all the light out of the room.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks so much for running this. Man.
Yeah,
This was really
guys.
excellent.
That
Yeah,
was
lots
fucking
of fun.
awesome.
Cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah.